Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 84 of the Clockwork Cantina. Uh, how you all doing today? I'm one of your hosts, Josh902, and this is our other host of this awesome show.
DT3, what's up, guys? Hello.
What's up, guys? My camera is doing the same thing it always does. Um, Today we'll be talking about the Bad Batch in the second half of the show. It's like I had a brain fart. Like we do this every week, but when we start, I'm always like, how do we start this show again? Because it's like I'm so like it's like I haven't done it ever, and we've done it for 84 episodes, which is just dumb. Like, I'm gonna have to get up in the middle of the show, but just for like a hot second. It'll be really quick. We don't have a whole lot of news, so it's probably gonna be a shorter episode, but that's fine. It's the way it happens. Not a lot has been going on the past uh couple weeks
Couple weeks.
actually, so
Yep.
um that is cool. It's fine. Totally cool. This gives us more time to talk about the Bad Batch uh,
Yep.
in the second half of the show, which I'm itching for more Star Wars. Even that, like after the Bad Batch, like I want more. I want more. So we'll talk about that obviously later on. Um, But before we get started, we always talk about what we've been up to the past week. I've been up to a little bit. I've been playing some games. Daniel's been playing some games, including a
Yep.
thing I thought he would never play. So that's gonna be interesting to talk about.
We'll talk
Um,
about that here for in a little bit. Yeah.
yeah. Um, but yeah, we can get started with that. Daniel, if you want to go ahead and hit us with what you've been up to the past week, go ahead, please.
Yeah. So in the in the in the past week, I've been playing. Yeah. Some games. I'm watching some. I normally I try to like get in a movie or two or whatever just to like all right, I've played some games, watched some movie, watched some TV, and watched a little bit of everything, right? Or do a little bit of everything. But I didn't get a movie in this week, unfortunately. Um, so yeah. Anyway, played some Splitgate. I've been playing more of that. That's been my FPS as of lately. It's a lot of fun. If you guys don't know what it is, you can definitely look it up on Steam. It is like a Halo mixed with Portal type of game. I don't know. It's fun. I enjoy it a lot. It's been a good time. Been a blast. I beat Mafia 3 on stream, so we're done with that. And I'm probably gonna take a break from playing story games for a while on stream. Like I just wanna do a little bit of variety for the time being. Um, it's been nice, like since beating uh
Oh, my camera's
that
really
game,
dark. That's not what I meant to have.
just playing whatever I feel like playing. So that's been fun. Um, which Red Dead, been playing that. There's been the new pass is out. I finished it already. Uh, they've been also having the like bonus gold and XP and money, I think, for the Call to Arms mode, which has been a lot of fun too. Um, so I'm gonna try to maybe farm a little bit more gold tonight before it ends tomorrow. But yeah, I mean, having fun with that as always. Play a little bit of Fall Guys as well. Um, that's been pretty. It's the way it always is with Fall Guys. New season starts, you play for a little bit, and so on and so forth. I watched the first episode of Marvel's What If. That was very enjoyable. I liked it a lot. Um, yeah, it's been. I can't wait for the next one. This upcoming Wednesday. It's gonna be a good time. I really like that first episode.
I still gotta watch it. I forgot
Uh,
completely
mm,
with watching Bad Batch.
I'm a big fan of like those what ifs type scenarios, and I hope eventually we get like a Star Wars what if because
Oh my
man,
god.
I have so many ideas for that. I have so many ideas for that. Like Lucasfilm, Disney, hit me up. I got so many ideas for what you guys can do with that. All right. But anyway, yeah, Marvel What If has been cool. I know what the next few episodes are, what we're getting next, so I'm excited. I'm not gonna say in case you guys don't want to know spoiler wise. But the first one, in case it's been out now, so it's the Captain Carter episode. We've known that for a while as well. The one with where Peggy instead of Steve becomes gets the serum or whatever. Definitely check that out when you get a chance, Josh, because that's it was cool,
I
man.
plan
I,
to.
I definitely enjoyed it. Looking forward to the next one on Wednesday. Um, and then I wasn't sure if I was going to do this or I was going to check out this show like immediately. But we watched the first episode of Heels last night, and I'm kind of glad I joined in on that because it was actually pretty good. Like
Yeah.
I was like, okay, like I was intrigued by it, but I was like, oh man, like to be honest, like I thought you had already seen it, like by that point.
No. No, no, I was waiting. I was like, I'm sure somebody will join me for this.
Yeah.
So I
So yeah,
hadn't
we
watched
we
it yet.
ended up checking that out, and it was pretty cool, man. It was pretty cool. Yeah, I mean the way they ended it, like I'm very intrigued with what they're gonna what they're gonna go on from there. I believe you were saying that there's 8 episodes total, so 7 more to go, man. I don't know. That's one way to start a show the way that they did, man. It's pretty interesting. Yeah, it's yeah. If you guys haven't checked it out, I'd recommend it. It was pretty solid, so definitely give
Yeah.
that a shot.
Sorry, guys. I keep trying to fix my camera. It's being a little wonky.
And then the last thing I did, which I spent quite a bit of time playing this, and I'm probably gonna stream it here maybe tomorrow actually. Um, so you guys know that for the past I don't know how like month or past couple weeks, I don't know how long you've been playing it for, Josh, but Josh has been talking about Final Fantasy 14. Um, and like for the longest time, I was like, well, I don't really am like, whenever I have the MMO itch, I just hop on the Old Republic, and that's enough for me because like I don't really like paying for subscriptions and stuff because it gets crazy. But they have a free trial, so I was like, okay, let me try out that free trial. So I downloaded the game or I installed the game on Steam, the Final Fantasy 14 online trial, and yeah, I gave it a shot. I also didn't. I also like again. I didn't think I. Josh said he didn't like think I would ever play it. I didn't. I wasn't sure myself if I was ever gonna play it either. But there was. They were like they were streaming it on Discord at one point. We were just chilling and on my server on Discord, hanging out on one of the voice channels, and they came across like a band of people, like an in like a band, like of made up of real people. They were playing music, and it was so cool, dude. I was like, this is pretty damn awesome. And to give that band a quick shout out, um, you can find them on their Twitter. They have a Twitter which is called, I believe it's Robots in Disguise, uh, Final Fantasy 14. But okay, but that's the name. The name of the band is called Robots in Disguise, and Final Fantasy 14 is the game that they're in. But you can find them on Twitter at RIDFFXIV. So Robots in Disguise, Final Fantasy 14. That's where you can find them at RIDFF14, and the 14 is in the Roman numerals. So again, I repeat for the last time, you can find them on Twitter at RIDFFXIV. So hit them up. They were one of the reasons why I was like, you know what, I got this seems so cool. Like, I gotta come in and hang out and listen to this music to them jam out and stuff. And I did. I actually did like a couple nights ago. I think it was like Saturday. they were playing, and I got to watch them live for the first time. And they're like, "Oh, you can like request songs and stuff," and it was great, man. It was a good time. They have a song list of songs that they know, and you can you know shout out tell them to ask them to play a song, and they'll play it, and it was pretty great. Like it's been a lot of fun. So shout out to Robots in Disguise. Cool little bard group in the Balmung uh server of Final Fantasy 14.
That's the
Uh,
cool thing
y-
about this game, and is like even if you're not gonna play the MMO, like you still log in and hang out because they got that free trial. You know?
yeah, dude, like it's been pretty, and like to be honest, I've been having a good time playing it. Like l- I'm already like level 30 something. Like I don't even remember what. Like I'm like level 32 or 33 or something like that already, and I only just
Hmm.
started playing like I don't know. I forget what day I started on, but it was like Friday maybe, or yeah, it was something like that. Like I started on Friday and I'm already like level 30 something. Uh so Loki, do you pay in-game money them to play, or is it free? So I'm doing the free trial, which I think you can play up to level 60 for free. But of course they limit you on all the things and a lot of things that you can do, because you're playing the free to play account. But if you want to you want to continue playing the game, then yeah, you have to pay, because you have to pay the sub, with real money. But I've just been having fun with the free trial. It's been a lot of it's been a oh, the band. No. You just they'll just be like, "Oh, we're playing music at this location in game." And then they'll be like, "All right, we're taking requests, so just either type them out in the chat, or whisper one of us if for those people that are feeling shy, if they don't want to type it out in the main chat."
Yeah.
And no, yeah, as long as it's a song that's on their list, because I mean, obviously you have to choose a song that they know, right? So as long as it's a song that's on their list, you can request it like freely. Like you don't have to pay for that at all. Like I on Saturday when I was playing, I bet I requested like almost 10 songs, and they played like every one of them. Like it was pretty cool. So
It's
again, shout
cool.
out to them. I just wanted to give them a quick shout out because they're one of the big reasons why I decided to start playing the game. Uh, because it like honestly like playing through it kind of reminded me of the olden days of when I used to play Maple Story. Like sure, like I would like level up and quest and do all that stuff, but it was just fun just like hanging out with people and like just chilling, listening to music or hanging out or whatever, you know what I mean? So it reminded me a little of that. So that was pretty fun.
There's
Um
a lot of people that show up to those things too. Like
yeah.
it's cool. It's cool, man.
Everybody's using their emotes and just like going crazy, and like it's fun time, man. It was pretty cool, man. It was pretty cool. I've been having fun with the game, so yeah, I didn't think I would play it, but here we are. I'm playing it, and it's been pretty fun. And like I said, I tried streaming it, or like I said, I'm gonna be streaming it tomorrow. But what I was gonna say is that I had tried streaming it on Friday. However, uh, I got as far as the character creation because I couldn't actually join the server because it was full, and I just had the game open in the background the entire time while I was doing other things on stream. And it wasn't until after the stream ended that I was able to join. So I actually haven't played any of it on stream, but we will tomorrow because we have our character and it's all made already and everything. It's all good to go.
I'm gonna hop
Um,
in here, Daniel, just right because Loki said in the chat, as long as players aren't assholes, it's a good time. I want to say
yeah,
something about 14. There's almost no assholes in this game, and if they are, they're assholes like in the real world and just not in the game. Because I've yet to meet anybody that is like um, a total jerk at all, like completely, like that is what has attracted me to the game. Phenom to the game. We've all had like very positive experiences with just random strangers in 14. Like I think Phenom was doing something, a raid or a dungeon or something for one of his weapons, and he had the wrong weapon out. And like the whole group, he was talking to the group as they were doing the fight, and the group was like, "Yeah, we can wipe and just start over. Like it's not a big deal." So like,
That's pretty crazy, man.
when a community is like that, that's something that I want. I want to make something like that because that is truly special. Because a lot of people hide behind the monitors and the characters where you can't be seen, and I'm sure there's
Yeah.
jerks there. Obviously, like everybody's got their bad part of the community, but I've yet to really run into anybody that is like that. Like I have
Yeah,
only
I
had
haven't either.
nice interactions with folks, which is awesome. Awesome.
Yeah,
Like
I
whereas
haven't been
if I
playing
played World of
the
Warcraft, people are
game.
assholes.
Yeah, no, just to add on to what Josh is saying, I haven't really been playing the game as long as he has or other people. But yeah, I mean, from what I've seen, everybody's been pretty cool, pretty chill. Everybody's been pretty friendly too. Despite like I play a very interesting character, like like race wise or species or whatever you want to call it, right? Uh, so maybe that's part of it. But everybody's been pretty cool. Um, but no, yeah. Again, everybody's been pretty awesome in that game. So yeah, uh, shout out to the people in that game. They've made it pretty fun to play it.
Mm-hmm. All right.
But yeah, that's pretty much all I've been up to. Like I said, I'll probably be playing it tomorrow on stream. So if you want to check out, if you guys want to check out, that if you want to check that out and see what it's like for like somebody who's new to the game, like me playing it, then yeah, come hang out. We're just gonna be chilling on that.
Hell yeah.
Anyway, that's pretty much it.
All right.
What have you been up to, Josh? Your turn,
I,
man.
I have been uh mostly playing City of Gangsters, but I'm going to talk about that last because that's going to take up the most time. Uh, um, I've been playing Final Fantasy 14, like I said, but not as much as I was. Just because there's a lot out right now and things I wanted to try this week, like City of Gangsters, like we talked about last week. We saw the trailer for it. I played it a lot this past week, so we're gonna talk about that. Um, uh, I played a little bit more of the Ascent, but not a whole lot. I need to go back and finish it because I'm pretty sure I'm getting kind of like close to the end. I think. Um, and I've been messing around. Anybody that follows the channel knows we love tabletop RPGs and stuff here. I've been messing around in Foundry, and I backed. I'm sure we've talked about it here on the podcast. The Ironsworn Starforge Kickstarter, and I've kind of haven't messed with it too much. I've read through the book back when I got it, but I've been reading through it again. I was messing around with Foundry and the system. The beta system for Starforge is on Foundry, so I could install it on there. And for those of you that don't know, uh, Ironsworn was originally a tabletop RPG that you could play solo or with friends or as a duo, as a group. It has like a bunch of random tables you could roll on. And like the idea is that you can just kind of role play, even if you assist yourself. And so it's pretty good for like if you want to do a one man show type deal and stream it or record it or stuff. There's a few of those out there. Um, but and it's kind of set in like the original Ironsworn is set in like a Viking style kind of setting, and the world is very in like medieval and stuff like that, and that's the original one. This one is like the sci-fi version of that, and since I've been watching The Bad Batch a lot lately, and like I've been trying to kind of get that sci-fi Star Warsy tech itch kind of deal. Um, I booted up Foundry, installed the system, and like it's great. Like I haven't played yet, but I made a character. I made my galaxy. We sat in voice chat the other night and rolled our truths. There's these truths about your world that you can roll a table on that determine certain things. And we were just going around. I was letting people just roll D100s in voice chat the other night to determine the truth of my world. Um, and that was a lot of fun. I'm going to be checking that out more, so it'll be probably be in the notes more. And then like the only other thing I really did other than Heels, I watched Heels, which was fucking great. Um, and I look forward to seeing more of that show, especially the way it ended was like, yeah, I'm definitely kind of curious to see where it goes next. On that. But the only other thing I've done this week, other than that, is I played City of Gangsters. I played a lot of City of Gangsters. This game came out on the 9th, so it's been out a week, like last Monday. It came out last Monday when we were doing the show. And I bought it after the show and downloaded it, and I've played about 17 hours of it over the past week. And I've restarted a few times and stuff like that. So basically, it's like Gangster Civ almost in a way. Um, and also like some sprinkling of RimWorld in there a little bit, in that you pick a town, a city. So they got like Pittsburgh, I know is one, Chicago is one, Cincinnati, I know is one. I think you get Cincinnati if you buy the deluxe edition, and there's a few other cities in there. And each one has a seed, which is basically like the randomization of it, like a set of numbers that just randomizes everything about the thing, including like starting characters in there, and like as you start playing, and you're starting like business. I got a really good one last time I played, and I'll talk about it in a minute. So basically, you start off as a gangster, and you got these traits that do different things. Um, like some of them make you a better fighter, some of them make people like you more, some make people afraid of you. Um, some make you like a really good driver. Um, so and I've tried and failed multiple times, and the game was a little buggy when it first came out. I had some bugs pop up that made me have to restart, but they did some updates and it's since fixed most of the issues I had. Um, but the last one I started, I think I started in Pittsburgh. I just went with a totally random seed, so everything was random in it. I got a decent starting character, but my home base was produced everything I needed to make a certain kind of alcohol, except for one thing, which is very nice, which is small bottles. I need to get small bottles to make this alcohol, so I can sell it, make money, and expand out. The goal is to like expand out and try to take over the city. And there's little fights and things like that that take place between like your characters and stuff, and they do better as they have different weapon types and stuff like that. Um, you can open fronts and take over territory. And there's like little random like small families that are like this yellow color, and they're kind of like the barbarians for Civ. If you played Civ, they're like barbarians. They pop up, they have a little chunk, but you can also make them kind of your allies a little bit too. And then there's opposing families, and these guys are like the red color, and they like grow and expand just like you do. And some of them are tough. I was getting my ass kicked by a few the other day. I had to reload my save. Um, I haven't like actually beaten like the game level yet. Um, and I haven't seen a lot of the late game stuff. I will say it kind of gets a little bit repetitive. Um, so basically, what you're doing is like you're setting up like deliveries. So you're going around selling alcohol to places to get money to buy buildings and pay your crew and stuff like that. And so as you get your crew, they pick up like the things you need. Like you set up delivery routes at these buildings, and they'll pick up money, buy these things. Like it's automated. It can be automated somewhat, where you set up their route and they go and buy these things and then bring them back to your place and pick up money and then go sell the stuff that you want and drop off money. It's really cool. I'm actually having quite a bit of fun with it. I grew up on games like Gangsters, Organized Crime, and stuff like that. This isn't quite what that is, but it's close. There's a lot of micromanaging and stuff in this in City of Gangsters, which can be a little irritating if you're not used to that kind of thing, I think. But like Daniel, I don't think you would like this game. I'll be honest with you, because it's a lot of like little micromanaging. go here, buy this, sell this,
That's
make this.
yeah, that's like some of those games I'd like rather watch somebody else play. Yeah,
Exactly. See, I don't think this is like up your alley.
yeah,
Um,
yeah.
but it's not mine. When I hit the right moods for like that kind of thing, where I can lose hours in it. Um, but yeah, I'm gonna keep playing it. I'll try to get more info for you guys in like the late game and see what that's kind of like. I feel like I'm kind of like strongly in the middle game at the moment, and then I kind of get stuck there. Like some people are really good at pushing through, and I get stuck. Um, but I'll keep you guys updated on the City of Gangsters. Um, and that's kind of all I've been up to the past week. Um, so Daniel, if we want to hit the news, we can do that, my friend.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. You can definitely head on over uh to the news.
To the news.
All right. So the first thing we have here is a very interesting one. It's one of the more I guess the bigger things that happened this past week.
Mm-hmm.
And that is that there will be apparently a GTA remastered trilogy. Uh so there's been months of rumors and speculation and whatnot that Rockstar would be remastering 3 of their classic games, which, you know, obviously when you think of when you think of that, what are the ones that come to mind for you? Because for me, it's automatically 3 of them for GTA.
The one that comes to my mind the most is like the first one I played, which was Vice City.
Vice City. Okay. Well, that is one of them. But for those of you out there who are wondering, it is, yes, you guessed it, GTA 3, Vice City, and San Andreas. So
I actually
apparently
never played third.
they will be remastering all 3 of those. Uh and they'll be releasing later this fall for a multitude of platforms, including the Nintendo Switch. For the past year, there's been rumors swirling around on Twitter and Reddit and all over the place that you know, the 3 PS2 classic era PS2 era classic games for GTA would be you know, remade uh or remastered, or, you know, however you want to phrase that. But like um apparently they're already in active they're already actively developing the remastered versions, and that all 3 of these games are being remastered using the Unreal Engine and will be a mix of new and old graphics. One source who claims to have seen a snippet of the games in action said that the visuals reminded them of a heavily modded version of a classic GTA title. The UI for the games are being updated too, but will remain the same classic style. Uh, no details were shared about the gameplay, but they're trying to stay as true as possible to the PS2 era of those games as much as they can. Um, so Rockstar Dundee, the Scottish outpost for them, and one of the newest studios of the company, is leading the charge in developing the remastered games. Another source said that the studio is heavily involved in not just the remasters, but is even helping Rockstar on developing the next gen GTA 5 ports that are out due later this year. Uh, Before becoming Rockstar Dundee, the studio was Ruffian Games and had previously worked on Crackdown 2, Crackdown 3, and assisted with the development on the Master Chief Collection. Plans around the remastered GTA titles have shifted a lot over the past year as a result of the ongoing pandemic, and they continue to do so, and they might continue to do so until things are officially announced. Originally, it seemed that these re-releases were going to be packaged together and given to players who purchase the upcoming next-gen ports of GTA 5 and GTA Online as a sort of bonus or a thank you gift from Rockstar. Then the plans changed. The remastered trilogy was scheduled to be released earlier this year. However, plans have changed again, and now the remastered titles are planned to launch around late October, early November for PS4, PS5, Xbox One, Xbox Series X and S, Switch, PC, Stadia, and mobile phones. It appears that the PC and mobile ports might slip to next year as Rockstar focuses on developing the console ports first. While some have expected that Rockstar will be spacing these releases out, if not releasing them on their own uh, on their own 20th anniversary. Uh, but that isn't the plan. It seems.
Mm.
Instead, all three will be released in a one collected package that may only be sold digitally. And for those people who are fans of Rockstar that are wondering what else they may be remastering and re-releasing, apparently, uh, according to the sources over at Kotaku, uh, it said that Rockstar plans to develop new ports of games like Red Dead Redemption. But obviously, the future of these games depends on how well the initial ones sell. So we shall see.
Cool.
Yeah.
Um, that's exciting to get to. I would love to go
Also,
back to Vice City and San Andreas.
yeah, yeah. But also, here's another interesting little tidbit, and it has to do with Red Dead Online.
Mm.
Rockstar is so focused on getting these three re-releases out of the door, alongside with the GTA 5 next gen port, so much that they're like shifting, you know, everybody on both of those projects, and the reason and because of that, because of the reason that they're putting everybody to work on either the GTA 5 port or the the PS2 trilogy remaster is one of the reasons why Red Dead Online has been having fewer and smaller updates.
Mm.
So if you were wondering why, there you go.
They're trying to do a lot of things at once, and it's they just don't have the bodies, especially with the pandemic going around. I imagine. Uh,
Yeah.
yeah, that's a bummer about the Red Dead Online stuff, but I think it's cool that they're remastering these. They're gonna make a fuckload of money off of it for all the people that want that nostalgia trip. Because I mean, like, I love Vice City and I love San Andreas. I never played the third one. I
So I've played a little bit of it, but I've definitely played more Vice City and San Andreas is like probably my most played GTA, like out of
mm-hmm.
all of them. So that one I have the most nostalgia for. Vice City is also pretty good, but I didn't play it as much as San Andreas, but I definitely played it more than three though. Three, I've only played like little bits here and there, but I have played it. So I have a little bit of nostalgia for all three of them
Mm-hmm.
because again, that PS2 era, like I think if somebody asked me like what my favorite like console is, it would probably be the PS2, just because I have so much like that era in general, like like OG Xbox, GameCube, and PS2. I'm gonna be honest, like I like all three of those because like I only ever owned a my PS2 myself. I ended up getting an OG Xbox like years later, just because I was like, oh, OG Xbox is cool. There's some games on there that I really like Fable and like KOTOR and yeah, some of those things. But anyway, and the GameCube, like I never had one, but I had like cousins and stuff that had one. So I played games all the time on all three of those systems. So that era in general for gaming is probably like my favorite, just for like my own reasons, like nostalgia and all that stuff. Personally. But yeah, no, I anyway, to for to stop the tangent. Those PS2 games I have a lot of the PS2 GTA games I have a lot of good memories about. That's what I was gonna say.
Yeah, I do
So
too as
I've
well. That was a
definitely
good era of gaming. It was the
it
fucking
was,
remote.
man. Like when I think about it, I'm like, that's probably my favorite, like personal favorite era, because like I enjoyed all three of those. Like it wasn't even like back then it wasn't even like, oh, the console wars or anything, you know what I mean? Like it was just like here are these three cool fucking systems that are all out at the same time from all three of the big, the big ones, right? You got your Xbox for Microsoft, PS2 for Sony, and then you got your GameCube for Nintendo. Like they were all cool. Like I enjoyed all of them. I
Hmm.
had many good times on all those. So yeah, that was a good era. That was a good era, man.
Might be a games of the decade topic in the future for that era in there, you know.
Oh yeah, dude.
Hmm.
Yeah, there's a lot I could talk about in that era.
We
Because
haven't done it
again,
in a little
like
bit,
I
so
said,
maybe time.
that's one of my favorites, man. That is my favorite, to be honest. Like it was just you were just have fun playing games, dude. Like there was no like I just mentioned, there is no like console wars and like, oh, fuck this, system because I'm loyal to this one and all this other stuff. Like I mean, I've always been loyal to Sony, like, but again, I still enjoy the GameCube and the and the OG Xbox. Like it was good stuff. But anyway, that's a topic for a whole another day. I went on a little bit of a tangent. I'm sorry, but it just reminded me of like that era of gaming when we were talking about the GTA PS2 trilogy because those are some great games,
Hey,
man.
bro, it's fine. We don't have a lot of news, so talk about it all you want. But we're
Yeah.
definitely going
I
to talk
know,
about
but
it on a
but
future
it's
podcast
yeah,
as
it's
a
that's that's what
thing.
I'm saying though. It's like it's like an actually good topic for another time,
Hmm.
man.
So we will definitely be revisiting that in the future because I would love to talk about it as well.
Yeah.
I got my Star Wars water bottle. Gotta
Oh
you
damn.
gotta stay hydrated when you're out there in a galaxy far, far away.
May the
Um,
force be with you.
what's next, Daniel? What else we got?
After that cool GTA news, what we have next up is um here this is I put this one in more so because of you because I think you're
Yeah,
more
this
into
one is
this
one of
than
mine.
I am.
Yeah, for sure.
So I put
Uh,
this in here because Frostpunk 2 is coming and it takes place decades after the original game.
oh, they have
So
a
there's
trailer.
they do have a announcement trailer in there as well, yeah. Because I know that you played the first game
I did.
a while back. And I think you liked it, so yeah, I, I didn't really think that the first game was that old. Like, how old is the first game?
It's a good question actually. Let me look.
Because they're already coming out with the second one. I'm like, well, I feel like the first one just came out like not that long ago.
2018. It came out in 2018. So
Ah,
it's been
okay. So no, it's all right. It's enough time for them. Yeah.
they've had like I think they had an expansion not that long ago, I want to say.
Mm.
But the way the years have passed me by, they go by pretty quick.
Yeah.
They have a lot of DLC and stuff.
Yeah, I don't know. I guess 2018. I mean, if rewind. I don't know. Time, time is a
Time,
crazy thing. So yeah,
time after
Frostpunk
time.
2 has been announced. Josh will have more to say about this than I do because again, he actually played it and I haven't. So
I so I only played the original Frostpunk like one complete playthrough, but it's designed for multiple ones, like because you unlock other modes as you play. Um, but it's like you're in this frozen world. It's Frozen Decimation, basically. If you watch our D&D game, um, it's in this frozen world where you're just trying to survive, and like, what lengths will you go to for survival? Like, will you put the kids to work? We may have even talked about this on a podcast episode because I feel like I remember, or at least I think I remember telling Daniel about like, yeah, early on I put the kids to work, man, because I had to get everybody I could to get the because you got to stay warm in this frozen fucking wasteland, um, which requires like more bodies to get things done. Um, and then as you progress through the story, you come across multiple choices like that, and then eventually this giant in the first version of the game, I played this giant snowpocalypse is going to happen where it's just going to get really fucking even worse cold than it already is, and you need to try to hang on for dear life and make your way through it. I think toward the end, I was starting to lose people, and then we finally come out on the other side, and then it recaps everything that's all the choices you had to make, and like it even's like at first we had to put the children to work and stuff like that, and it just goes through each one. Like, and some of it makes you feel bad because you made choices you had to survive. Like Frostpunk was a cool game. I wouldn't mind doing a run before the sequel comes out. Um, and yeah, that's what the original game was like about coal, and it looks like this one's about oil. Looking through the article
Yeah.
here at a
The
glance, I
age
actually
of
haven't read
coal has
anything about
ended, and
this.
now oil has become the frozen society's most sought after resource.
Yeah. Um,
Yeah, so again, this sequel takes place like decades after the original. 30 years
uh,
to be exact. So there you go.
that's cool. I'll be checking this out. I like Frostpunk, the original Frostpunk. So, and it was fun to watch people play it. People like Co Carnage and them that had played that are good at those types of games. Uh, it's it's one of the harder like city builder games I've ever played. I want to say because like there's just so much stacked against you right off the gate, and you have to make that choice. And the reason I keep coming back to the putting the kids to work things is because it's one of the very first choices you have to make. Um, but yeah, that's cool. That's exciting. I can't wait for more of that. Frostpunk.
Heck yeah.
What else do we have, Daniel?
Next up, which is I think the last thing I have on here because there's really a whole lot going on. But
We'll do a quick scan afterwards.
yeah, I mean you can search through it now if you want.
Yeah.
So the other thing here is for those of you who are Life is Strange fans, the Life is Strange Remaster Collection has been delayed to 2022 to alleviate additional pressure on the team. Uh, with Life is Strange True Colors just around the corner, uh, and as well as the Wavelengths DLC, the studio announced a delay for the remastered collection. Deck Nine offered an update on the social media post, including confirmation that Life is Strange True Colors will arrive on September 10th, with the DLC with the Wavelengths DLC slated for a September 30th release. Life is Strange Remastered was originally expected to launch around the same time, but Deck Nine wants to ensure the safety and well-being of its team, which is incredibly important to do. Uh, and to do that, they've made uh, the push back for the remaster collection to sometime in early 2022. So here they like put up an image on Twitter, uh, and by they I mean Deck Nine, uh, on their Twitter account. There's an image that has a message from them, and they say, "Hello, Life is Strange fans. We have some important updates for you on our upcoming release dates. After Life is Strange True Colors releases on September 10th, we're happy to announce that the Wavelengths DLC starring Steph Gingrich will release on September 30th. We will be revealing a first look via a trailer. However, due to the ongoing challenges of the worldwide pandemic, we want to alleviate any additional pressure on the Life is Strange team by giving them more time between the release of True Colors and the remastered collection. For this reason, we have made the difficult decision to delay rather the release of the Life is Strange Remastered Collection for all platforms: PC, PlayStation, Xbox, Stadia, and Switch until early 2022. We hope you understand. Thank you for your patience and overwhelming support. For more information, please keep an eye on our official channels, the Life is Strange team. So that was their message. Um, yeah, like for me, these aren't really like I haven't really played these games. Like I didn't play the first one, so for me, like I watched people play the first one because it's these types of games are like telltale games, right? They're like episodic, like choose make your own choices and decisions and that kind of stuff that will change the story in one way or another. And I typically like that kind of stuff, but like since I watched so many people play the first game, I just never played it myself. And then I was like, well, I don't really, I didn't really play any of the other ones because again, I didn't play. I watched people play the first one. I didn't do it myself. I think I did try out the what was that like little spin-off game that they had? I think it was called something like
Captain Spirit? Was it something like that?
Captain Spirit. Yeah, I think it was the Awesome Adventures of Captain Spirit. Thank you. I can't remember what the name was.
I couldn't
I just know
remember.
it was
I think it's that.
Well,
I
I mean,
think
you
that's
said
what it
it
is.
is. Like I just looked up The Awesome Adventures of Captain Spirit. I did play that. That was kind of like a little spin-off thing that they had.
Hmm.
And I played that, but yeah, I haven't done anything else. So yeah, I mean, this isn't really my kind of series, but even though I do generally enjoy the style of game that this is, but this series in particular just hasn't really. I don't know. Again, like I said, I just watch people play the first one, and then it feels weird playing the rest of them without having actually played the first one. I don't know. It's it is what it is. Like it's fine. But
Yeah.
yeah,
All right. If that's all there is on that, there's a few things over here. The biggest thing that I found was that the Call of Duty Vanguard reveal confirmed for Warzone on August 19th. So there was an article over here that I found that said the Call of Duty Vanguard will officially be revealed this Thursday, August 19th. That's according to an advert published on PlayStation Store today, which confirms that the game will be shown for the first time via Warzone, which is current Call of Duty, 10:30 a.m. Pacific time. And then Activision has officially announced Call of Duty Vanguard with a teaser trailer and confirmed plans to reveal the title on August 19th. So we got a teaser trailer here we can play for you guys. For you Call of Duty guys. I'm not a Call of Duty guy at the moment. I'm more of a Battlefield guy, but let's see if this little teaser does
was
anything
a
for
Call of
me.
Duty guy, but fuck Blizzard and Activision and all that.
Yeah.
So I don't. Yeah, I don't really care to be honest.
To be honest with you, I wasn't even thinking about that when this popped up.
Yeah, that's why that's why I didn't include it because I'm like, fuck, I'm not giving them anything. I'm like, fuck you guys.
Yep. We can move on. Uh, I totally forgot. Um, the next thing is like most of this stuff is rumors, but uh, a possible Alan Wake 2 is now in full production.
I did hear about that, but I wasn't sure. Like,
It's not officially announced or anything. It's just mostly rumor. But there's another rumor on here I wanted to talk about as well. That we'll
okay,
get to in a minute. Uh, but Remedy has confirmed that their unannounced game project alongside Epic's games has moved into full production. This is the game that some believe to be Alan Wake 2. This is an article over in PC Gamer, by the way. Following Remedy's reacquisition of Alan Wake in 2019, an announcement last year that the next game in the Remedy connected universe was already in the works, Remedy said in the same message to investors that they are still in full production mode on their second, smaller scale unannounced game. Epic Games fully funded the project with Remedy, we learned last year, so that probably means Epic will be publishing the unannounced game, and therefore is very likely uh, will be a full-on Epic Game Store exclusive on PC. Remedy will retain complete ownership of the IP, however. So, possible Alan Wake 2? I played a little bit of the first Alan Wake, but I never completed it. So at some point, I probably will uh, do that. But that's exciting for you Alan Wake guys.
yeah,
Uh,
I've played the first one and the Nightmare one, and they were pretty solid. So, and then I played Control, which if you played Control, you know how trippy that is. So, yeah, I definitely I would check out an Alan Wake too if it's if it ends up happening.
yeah, hell yeah. That's cool. I like that they're gonna be like if it does turn out to be this Alan Wake 2, which it probably is. I like that they have like a connected universe, which is pretty fucking cool. So like you can have crossovers and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Um, the next thing is very grain of salt. It's a rumor, super rumor. But there's rumors of a Saints Row reboot that will be announced later this month. The reason I put this in here is because Daniel and I
Huh.
just played the third
You did.
remastered.
I
So
I I I like Saints Row. Yeah, I like it a lot. So a reboot, huh? Interesting. I actually I feel like there's been like rumors or speculation about this for like a while too that they've just because I mean like
yes,
if you for those of you who have played the fourth game, like you know how they kind of have to reboot stuff after the way that that game ends. Um, so I'd be very curious in how they do it because again, I love the Saints Row games. They're most of them are fun. And yeah, Josh and I just literally went through the the remaster of the third game. So it'll be very I'll be very interested in that. When did you say that we'll get more information on that?
There's no date, but later this month, probably Gamescom. I think is the thing this month,
That
right?
would make sense. Yeah, yep, Gamescom. That would make sense.
When is Gamescom? Let's look there. The
That's
twenty
like soon.
fourth, the 24th
Yeah, it's like
to the
next week.
26th. So
Yeah,
yeah, so we could probably talk about that on the 30th.
yeah,
Well,
we
we will be
can.
talking about that stuff on the 30th because we'll probably have news. We'll probably
Yeah,
actually have
yeah,
news. Shit. Uh,
yeah. We
uh,
definitely can talk
I kind of
about
hope that
that.
turns out to be real, and I kind of hope it turns out to be like I need it to be Saints Row. You know what I mean? Like I need it to be that, but reboot. Like I want them to keep the same feel and flavor. Obviously, I don't want just like a whole new deal with the name
Yeah.
slapped on there. Because I had a lot of fun playing the third, especially with you. I hope they do co-op with the reboot.
Oh
I
yeah,
keep saying,
of course, I want them to do co-op, man. Like that's it was such a blast playing the third one in co-op. So absolutely, I hope they do the new one. Yeah, I'll be keeping an eye out on that because I'm definitely interested. So we'll see what they do.
yeah. I don't usually like to talk about rumors on the show because I usually like to have like confirmed 100% we're getting this kind of thing,
Yeah,
but
well, I mean, we do still talk about rumors and
so
speculation and stuff. It's
but
fine as long as it's
that one
like
I definitely
you
wanted to
know,
throw on there
yeah,
because it's
yeah,
Saints Row and we just played it, so
absolutely.
uh, like some things on here are ridiculous that I would never talk about, but yeah, um, that's all there is for game stuff. We can move on to television, if we want to, which I'm pretty sure we do. You open this up. Open this up. Boop.
All right, so that's it for the gaming news, then, huh?
Yes.
All right. All right, so on to the TV news it is. So the first one that we have here is the Netflix Avatar: The Last Airbender live action TV series has set their cast. So I'm gonna be honest, like straight up off the top of this. I am not sure how this is gonna go because this is just me
Same.
speaking. Like this is me. I'm not reading this off of anything or anywhere. Um, so originally they had the creators of the show of the animated series working on this one, but they dropped out due to I guess just creative differences or something. So I don't remember exactly what it was, but the thing is they dropped out. So I am not sure how this. I don't know, man. This could be good or it could be bad. And we've already had one live action interpretation of, or adaptation rather, of this show, which was the movie that everybody remembers, and that wasn't good. And this is a whole new version, whatever. So there's potential, but I don't know, dude. Having the original creators not on board, I don't know, man. I don't know. I will say that I'll probably and I will end up giving this a shot, but as of right now, I don't have the most enthusiastic feelings on this.
Hmm.
But anyway, they've set their cast, and what is cool about this is that they have like an all Asian cast, really.
Hmm.
So that's pretty neat. You have an Asian cast for Asian characters. I mean that it makes sense. So, but anyway, uh, we have Gordon Cormier, uh, Kiwa Wentio, Ian Oosley, Dallas Liu. have been cast as four of our main characters here. So we have Gordon Cormier as Aang, or as the movie called him Ong. Uh, Kiwo Wentio as Katara. Also, I sincerely apologize if I'm mispronouncing that name. Uh, and then Ian Ousley as Sokka, Dallas Liu as Prince Zuko. So those are our four that we have here. I don't recognize these kids from anything in particular, but some of the stuff they're credited for here is like Gordon Cormier is credited for Gabby Duran and the Incitables. I'm gonna be honest. I don't know. I don't even know what that is.
Mm-mm.
Uh, Kiwa Wentio is credited for Beans, which again I don't know what that is. Ian Ousley Physical. I don't know what that is. The only one of these that I have heard of is 1015, which Dallas is in. And even then, I mean, I haven't seen the show. I've only just heard of it. However, Albert Kim from Sleepy Hollow and Nikita will serve as the showrunner. Executive producers of the series, Dan Lin from the Lego Movie and Aladdin, Lindsay Liberatore from Walker, and then you have Michael Goy from Swamp Thing and American Horror Story. So yeah, they have their creative team and they have their cast, their main cast. We'll see how this goes. Again, I don't know, man. I wanna I
Yeah,
wanna
I have no
I
clue.
want it to be good because again, I don't ever want things to be bad. Like I don't want to like watch something and have it be bad. Like I Josh and I have said this many times, but there are things that we like everything we want to watch, we don't want it to be bad. You know what I mean? Like we never want to go into something already being like, all right, well, this is gonna suck. You know, like I like being surprised pleasantly when something is good. You know, so that's kind of what I'm hoping for in this case. But I don't know. We're just time will tell, man. Time will
Yeah,
tell.
I have no clue how this is gonna be. Um, but I don't want it to suck, obviously, like Daniel just said. And I already kind of have my best version of Avatar: The Last Airbender as the animated show, so
I mean,
I can go
yeah.
rewatch that anytime I want to and enjoy it. And so I want this to be a success as well because I want people to succeed in the things that they do. I don't think more Avatar is a bad thing, especially if it's successful. So uh, that's all I got to say about that.
All right. Well, we can move on. The next thing that we have is Ethan Hawke has been talking about his Moon Knight character. Uh, and he says that he he's basing his character off of David Koresh, which for those of you who don't know who David Koresh is, uh, he is uh the uh the Waco dude from the 90s. Uh
There's a ton of documentaries on David Koresh
yeah,
and
there's
Waco out
yeah,
there,
like yeah. So he's the cult leader dude from the 90s,
and I remember when that shit happened. Jesus.
yeah,
But yeah.
so again, Ethan Hawke is basing his Moon Knight character on David Koresh, which is interesting because I'm not even sure we know who he's playing yet, right? Do we
Well,
know?
sounds like a villain to me.
Well, yeah, obviously, but I was just like, I wasn't sure if we
Here's the
knew like
thing.
his
I don't know
character, you
shit
know?
about Moon Knight at all. So I don't know any of his
Yeah.
I don't even know any of his villains or any of that stuff. So um that'll be interesting.
Well,
So yeah.
on the speaking of interesting, the way that he got cast for the show was that basically Oscar Isaac, who is going to be our Moon Knight,
Hmm.
uh, told him about it. They like they were at like a coffee shop, and then basically Oscar Isaac told him that he liked one of the things that he was in, The Good Lord Bird. And he was like, "Yo, I like this thing you were in, The Good Lord Bird. You want to be in Moon Knight with me?" And he was like, "Yeah." So that's how he got in Moon Knight. Like, could you imagine just being like, you do one thing, and then like somebody comes up to you and is like, "Yo, I like this thing you did, and I like this one thing you're in. You want to come join me on this thing that I'm doing right now?" And be like, "Well, fuck yeah, dude! Like that'd be so cool, man. Like that's pretty awesome that
Yeah, it is dope.
that it happened that way. Yeah,
It's also a thing you can do with somebody like Ethan Hawke, who is a tried and proven actor and been in a lot of successful
yeah,
films and such as that. And Oscar Isaac also has like a ton of pull on stuff, so because he's a big thing right now.
yeah,
So yeah, it's really cool. I like Ethan Hawke, so um,
yeah. So again, yeah, we don't even know what character Ethan Hawke is playing, but what we do know is that he's gonna be very much like David Koresh. So there you go.
enjoy that little bit.
Enjoy that little tidbit of information there. The next thing that we have here as we move on is that Amazon's Lord of the Rings show is going to be leaving New Zealand for season 2. They're going to be moving over to the UK. This seems like it's kind of blasphemous to me a little bit, because like they've done every Lord of the Rings related project in New Zealand, right?
I
So the
think.
fact that they're leaving for the UK in season 2 is kind of, I don't know, man. It seems like at the end of the day, it's not a big deal, but like it's like, wow, oh shit, they're leaving New Zealand. Like everything they do is out there, ain't it? Uh, but yeah, Amazon Studios is going to be packing up Lord of the Rings and moving its production from the show from New Zealand to the United Kingdom for season 2. Uh, Amazon has invested heavily into sets and facilities in New Zealand to help the show's debut season, which recently wrapped, filming at an estimated price of $465 million.
Jesus Christ, that's so much.
Right? The show's steep cost was a key factor in the decision, with sources saying that the UK will be a more economical choice moving forward. Amazon has been heavily investing in studio space in the UK and is shooting many other titles there, such as Good Omens, The Rig, The Power, Anansi Boys, so on and so forth. Uh, Another factor was that the country has a very strict pandemic lockdown policy. Insiders credit the policy with help keep the production safe during unprecedented times, but it's also resulted in logistical challenges, given that roughly half of the cast is from the UK. For instance, anytime a member of the cast or crew left the country, they would have to quarantine for 14 days upon returning to New Zealand, and there were limits as to how many people could come and go from the production at any given time. That being said, season 1 post production will continue in New Zealand through June 2022, and pre production on season 2 will begin concurrently in the UK after the first of the year. Uh, so yeah, I guess after hearing all of this, it kind of makes sense why they're moving from the to the UK from New Zealand. But yeah, it's kind of crazy. That's like everything so far that they've done has been out over there in New Zealand now. And but I mean, like I said, it makes sense though that because of all these stipulations and whatnot, they're like, all right, this is because again, that's a lot to pay for a show, man.
Hmm.
$465 million for a season of a show. That's nuts, dude. That is nuts. But I'm excited for this though. I feel like we've been lacking Lord of the Rings, man. Like there just hasn't been a whole lot of anything. Like since the Hobbit movies, which were like what, like almost 10 years ago now. That's kind of crazy to even say, to be honest.
Yeah.
Because I think the first one was like what, 2012, and then it was 2013 for the second one, 2014 for the last one, something like that. Anyway, it's almost we're almost getting to that 10-year mark of the first one. But since then, we haven't really had a whole lot. Like, there's been like those Shadow of Mordor and Shadow of War games and stuff. But like, other than that, what else have we had Lord of the Rings wise?
Nothing
Like,
really like
not a lot, right?
no, and like the last thing I can actually think of, and it's not even like a show or movie or anything like that. It was a Kickstarter for a tabletop RPG that was successful.
Mm.
Like, um, other than that, there hasn't really been a lot. Uh, and the Shadow of War and Mordor games aren't even considered part of like the canon.
Yeah, they're not
So,
even canon. Yeah.
um, and then there's like that Golem game that's supposed to be happening that
Yeah,
is
I was gonna bring
weird
that
and
up too,
like
but I'm just like,
like
on that
it's
game.
weird and like I don't understand why it's even gonna be a thing. But yay, it's the only thing I can think of other than like what you mentioned. So
Yeah, so
uh
I just I we're lacking some Lord of the Rings nowadays, and I kind of wish we had that, but we have to wait at least another year for that, unfortunately.
yeah,
But in the meantime, I guess we have like The Witcher and fucking we had Game of Thrones, but then we saw how that ended, and then we've had other things here and there, but it's just I don't know, man. Lord of the Rings is just it's like yeah, it's like a fantasy type thing, but I don't know. I just and we've had plenty of that over the past however many years, but I don't know. I just Lord of the Rings is to me it's like it's its own
it's the
like
OG, man. Like that's
yeah, dude.
kind of
It's
what it
it's
is.
it's we need more Lord of the Rings, man. We need more Lord of the Rings. I like that world and that universe and all that stuff more than like a lot of other things.
It's inspired like any other fantasies like been inspired by Lord of the Rings. So like
Yeah.
so that's like what I want. I want the original.
We want the OG, man.
Hmm.
But anyway, moving on from that, if we have nothing else to say,
Yeah, no, go ahead.
Marvel Studios is planning multiple new animated series following the debut of What If. So What If debuted on Wednesday on Disney Plus uh, as a creative critical milestone for the MCU. Um, executive producer Brad Winderbaum from Black Widow explained that Marvel Studios already has multiple animated series in various phases of development for Disney Plus, on top of a second season for What If, and a series of photo-real animated shorts centered on Baby Groot that are both already in production. Uh, Winderbaum says the company was driven by the recognition that the creative freedom demanded by What If, including staging new versions of major action sequences from just about every movie within the MCU, is only possible through animation. We realize that there's lots of cool avenues you can explore with animation. Any project that we create is going to be something that needs to be animated in order for the story to be told. There's very little desire to take a piece of IP that's popular because we're coming out with a movie and just make an animated show about it. We're not going to do that. Uh, when asked on what it was like working on What If, he says it was animation kindergarten, but he was a fast study and a faster devotee. You can adapt the director's vision onto the screen in a very pure way. Um, uh, when asked about uh if it would leave the door open to working with Pixar or Disney Animation down the line, he says it's something that we'd be open to under the right circumstances. It all depends on the project. That'd be kind of cool, man. Like seeing like a Marvel Pixar project or something. I'd be for that. I think that'd be kind of neat actually.
Hmm.
Depending, yeah, like he himself said, depends on the project. Like depending on what it is, I think it could be pretty neat, honestly. Um uh Which, it's kind of funny that we're coming back to an age of Marvel animation because for a while, like especially in the 90s, that's all that Marvel was, right? It was like just comics and animated shows. Like we had like Spider-Man in the 90s, we had X-Men in the 90s.
Yep.
Like that's all Marvel was. It wasn't like all these movies like we have nowadays. Like so it's kind of cool that they're bringing, we're bringing back Marvel animation in this way because I'm all for it, dude. I love it.
Absolutely. They should do the
Yeah,
ultimate crossover with The Incredibles, Big Hero 6, and some MCU all in one gigantic mix. That'd be crazy. Uh,
yeah. So that's pretty cool. So they're working. They have multiple new shows in several phases of development. So that's very interesting to me. Because I like What If so far. It's been really, really good. Even though it's only been one episode. I'm super excited for the one upcoming and what we have after that. Very, very exciting times for Marvel animation, that's for sure. Um, the last thing I have on here is that Netflix's The Witcher Blood Origin has added 10 to their cast, and they have also set directors. So this actually dropped earlier today. The Witcher Blood Origin, Netflix's live-action prequel series to the fantasy show starring Henry Cavill, is growing its cast with even more with 10 new cast members. Mirren Mack will play Merwin, Lenny Henry will play Baelor, Jacob Collins will play Eridan, Lizzie Annis will play Zakare, Hugh Novelli will play Callan, aka Brother Death, Francesca Mills will play Meldoff, Amy Murray will play Fenric, Nathaniel Curtis will play Brian, Zach Wyatt will play Sindril, and Dylan Moran will play Uthrock One Nut. That's a that's a
that's a
name.
name.
Yeah. Sarah O'Gorman from The Curse and The Last Kingdom, and Vicky Jewson from Close and Born of War will each direct 3 episodes of the 6 episode limited series. Set in an elven world, 1,200 years before the world of The Witcher, the prequel series Blood Origin will tell a story lost to time, including the creation of the first prototype Witcher and the events that led to the pivotal conjunction of the spheres, when the worlds of monsters, men, and elves merged to become one. So yeah, there you go. We got a lot of names there. Got a
That's
lot of
cool.
names.
I don't know nothing about any of this, so that's neat.
Yeah, we'll have to wait and see what some of this is all about, but hell yeah. But yeah, that's all we got for that. Um can move on to the movie news if you got nothing.
No, not really. Go right ahead.
All right. For the movie news, first thing we have here is that Venom Let There Be Carnage has delayed their theatrical release amid the Delta surge. Um So yeah, I know how sad everyone is about this because Venom 2 looks just so so great, right?
When this movie does bad, they're gonna be like, "It's because of COVID." You know
Yeah,
what I mean? Like they're gonna. That's gonna be the
I
excuse.
can see that happening.
That's
Yeah,
gonna be the excuse. That's not gonna be the truth.
yeah. We had to move our movie so many times,
uh,
Um, but yeah, it was originally supposed to be coming out, I think, on September 24th, but they're moving it to October 15th. Which I I mean, I thought it was already coming out in like in October time because I think the first movie came out in October time. So yeah, that makes sense to me at least that it would come out then. Um,
as you can tell,
but
we're
yeah,
super excited about this
no, yeah, I mean, I'm like we're not like we're just gonna say it straight up.
movie. No,
We're not. That last trailer didn't it did not help. If anything, it made my uh enth- enthusiasm for this movie lesson even more. Because like again, I didn't think the first one was terrible. It was just a fine movie. But I say this every time I bring it up. It just felt to me like a '90s movie, like a pre MCU '90s movie. Which again, isn't a bad thing, but it's just it's just what it felt like to me. It was fine. It wasn't anything special. Um, yeah, I don't know. Well, I'll probably end up checking this out, but like I'm in no rush to check it out. Like I can wait. I can wait all the time you need, Sony. I'm not in a rush, man. But anyway, this is one of the many movies that have been pushed back. Like I know that they've also pushed back Morbius to like January, and then Craven the Hunter is gonna be like 2023 or something. So anyway, we can move on from that. Here's something that's pretty cool.
Mhm.
John Wick Chapter 4 has added Clancy Brown to the cast.
We love Clancy.
We love Clancy. We love John Wick, amazing movies, and Clancy
Mhm.
Brown's the man. So I'm all for this.
Me too. I'm excited. I need to see the third
Lionsgate has
one.
closed a deal for Clancy Brown, which John Wick Chapter 4 already has an insane cast, dude. Like they got Keanu Reeves, Donnie Yen, Hiroyuki Sanada, Rina Sawayama, Lance Reddick, and Ian McShane are also returning as their characters. And now we have Clancy Brown on board. I'm very curious who he's gonna be.
The Kurgan. The
But
Kurgan
yeah,
comes to John Wick.
but yeah,
uh,
this is cool, man. I can't
no,
wait.
it's
I can't
dope.
wait.
It's dope as fuck. I can't. That's very dope.
Such a cool cast they're building up. I wonder who else they're gonna add to this. But yeah, Clancy's a great addition. So I'm all about it.
Hmm.
Uh, Speaking of additions to movies, this is a bit of a weird one, but the internet kind of went crazy when it happened this past week, and that is that Idris Elba is going to be joining Sonic the Hedgehog 2 as the voice of Knuckles. Uh, sure, sure. I mean, he's not who I would have guessed. I'm sure he's gonna do a great job, but I just there are there's castings that happen like every once in a while. Like most of the time when there's a casting that happens, I'm like, oh, that's great, that makes sense. Like we were talking about the Blue Beetle with Xolo Maridueña, right? The Miguel from Cobra Kai. I'm like, we both Josh and I were like, that makes so much sense. Like I was super excited for it because I'm like, hell yeah, dude, that's a great pick. So most of the time I'm like, you kind of trust studios and casting people to make the right decisions and stuff. And not to say that this isn't one of those, but like every once in a while I get hit with a casting thing where I'm like, huh, I would have never guessed that. But okay. Like we'll see how that works out. Um but yeah, fresh off of Suicide Squad here, Idris Elba's gonna be voicing Knuckles. He himself
So
confirmed it. He himself confirmed it in a tweet which says knock knock, and it's just a fucking, it's Knuckles' knuckle.
I'm gonna be real honest here. The most honest I've ever been on this show. The only two characters I know about Sonic are Sonic and Tails. I don't know who the fuck Knuckles is, to be honest, other than like he's a
Oh, really?
character in
Okay.
the game. Like like my knowledge of Sonic lore is
Mhm.
really bad because I never really played those games other than like the first one.
I played like bits of them here and there, so I know who Tails is. I know who Knuckles is. I know
So
who
they
some people are here and there, but I haven't played them like super. I'm not like a Sonic mega fan either, to be honest.
like I know Knuckles is in games. Like I know that.
Yeah,
I know nothing about Knuckles. I know nothing about any of the other characters. I've seen pictures of them. And like so like I think I said in voice chat the other night, I'm like, I don't even know what Knuckles sounds like. Like is he supposed to have a voice? Yeah, I still haven't even watched this first movie either with Sonic, so
yeah. I haven't either. I actually, I want to check it out now because like I heard it was fine. Like it was better than people expected. Honestly, like I thought it was gonna be a train wreck, but like it wasn't that bad, you know, like from what I hear at least, especially since like people didn't like the original design of Sonic. You remember when that was a fucking thing and then they changed it again?
Which, yeah, respect to
Uh
them for doing that because it's a lot of work
yeah,
and money.
definitely respect, and hopefully everybody who was crying about that went to go out and watch the movie because you know they listened to you. But anyway, yeah, so this is gonna be interesting. Yeah, this definitely makes me want to watch the first one. So I'm probably gonna do that here within the next couple days, and then maybe we'll talk about that next week for a little bit if I end up watching it. But yeah, so there's your Sanic news for the day. Um, the last thing that I have here is something that I didn't even know was happening, and there is a Spawn movie in the works, and it has a new writer. Uh, so Brian Tucker, who penned the 2013 Russell Crowe and Mark Wahlberg crime thriller Broken City, has been hired to write the script for the feature project. Jason Blum's Blumhouse Productions is behind the feature, which has Todd McFarlane, the creator of the comic and character, attached as director. Uh, Blum and McFarlane are producing. Carla Hacken is executive producing. The project has been percolating since 2017. Okay, I think I kind of remember hearing that a while back, but then there. So now that I'm reading this, I remember hearing about something about a Spawn movie, but
I
since it's
remember,
been like
I know it's in the
years,
article here, but I remember the Jeremy Renner news and like Twitch, the character named Twitch. I remember
yeah.
that two bits.
So what they say is that at one point Jamie Foxx was attached to play Spawn, and that Jeremy Renner was a detective nicknamed Twitch. However, since time has passed since their initial boarding, it is unclear if the actors are still involved. Insiders say they could be reapproached after a script is written. McFarlane wrote the initial script, which attracted the actors. For those who don't know, Spawn is centered on a black ops agent who is betrayed and murdered, and his soul is sent to hell for all the innocents he killed. While there, he makes a deal with the demon that allows him to return to the earthly plane with his wife. However, 5 years have now passed, and his wife has moved on, while he is a disfigured and superpowered spawn of hell. So it was so the comic was adapted into a 97 New Line horror action movie that starred Michael Jai White, as well as a late 90s HBO animated series. But yeah, so okay, going back to this project though, I now that I'm reading about it, I do remember hearing about it like years back. It says it's been percolating here since 2017. So yeah, I remember hearing about it then. But since there's just been like zero news lately, I kind of forgot it was a thing. So yeah, I don't know if they're gonna keep Jeremy Renner or Jamie Foxx, but they have somebody working on a new script. So we'll see what ends up happening with this.
Yeah, there was supposed to be like a TV show, which is an article here on that links to it. And
Yeah.
because I feel like we talked about it on the Cantina before, the Sam and Twitch TV show that was supposed to be a thing.
Hmm.
Do you remember that? Because I remember talking about a TV show. I don't remember them talking about a movie. Uh, and like Spawn was supposed to kind of be in the background of the show or something. Like all this was like a year ago, probably. If we even remember talking about the
Yeah,
show.
I don't even
Um,
remember talking about the show. I just remember talking about I know I remember hearing about the movie. I don't think we talked about it on the show, the movie, but like I remember hearing about it before we even started the podcast. Like it was a thing like years ago. Kind of like
I'm pretty sure we talked about the show on the podcast at one point because it
yeah,
was.
I mean maybe, but I
Uh,
just don't remember to be honest.
yeah, I mean it was a while back, and I always forget about this stuff because like you'll hear about it one time and then fucking never hear about it again. So like right now when they're talking about a movie randomly, you
Yeah.
know, um, So, shit. I, who knows if this will end up even happening? He's been trying
We'll
forever to get
see. I mean,
Spawn back in the
yeah,
deal.
they've been trying, but it hasn't happened yet. We'll see. I mean, I think a good Spawn movie would be pretty badass.
Yeah, I like Spawn. Spawn's a cool looking character with a
They
dope
just
backstory. Hmm.
they just got to get the right script and the right people behind it, and yeah, we'll see what happens. But that's all we got for now. There isn't any other news other than that for
That's all
now.
your news for the days, y'all.
That's your
Um,
news,
that's your
everyone.
news. Daniel, do we need a break? You need to take a break, or you want to just keep on rolling?
Uh, nah, we can probably just keep it rolling this
All
time.
right, let's keep on rolling. We're gonna talk Bad Batch. Let me put on the text on the screen for us, so people come in, they realize that we'll be spoiling it probably.
Oh, not probably. We will be.
Yeah,
That's usually how it goes down in
Bad
these things.
Batch
We usually
spoilers.
spoil it. So if you haven't seen season one, get out of here.
Get out of here. Sorry, I'm trying to make the text look pretty. All right.
Star Wars: The Bad Batch season one. Because guess what, ladies and gents, season two was confirmed like before the last two episodes came out.
All right. We got our text on the screen.
Excellent.
Uh, so Daniel, start us off here. I will
All
say
right.
I started watching it when it first started airing. I fell off, not on purpose, just things happen. It usually happens when I try to watch a show. I went back and I watched all of the show all the way through within the last week. So it's all very fresh for me.
So
So
I've
go
been
ahead.
watching them week to week as like I watch this stuff as it drops. So like 12 a.m. it drops, I watch it. And I've been doing that every week for each episode. Um so yeah, it's been great. But season one, so as we always do with these things, we always say whether we like it or we don't or whatever. I so here's the thing for me. I remember before this show came out, and they were like, "Oh, we're gonna be doing a show about the Bad Batch, which are a group of characters that appeared in the one arc at the end of season seven, right?
Mhm.
For season seven of the Clone Wars, rather." And I was like, "Okay, but like there are so many other things I'd rather see instead of that, you know?" And with each passing trailer, I was like, "Okay, this is winning me more and more each time." And then now when the show started at the very first episode, which was a longer episode, by the way, it was like a 70-minute episode or something like that. It was nuts. Like it was a 70-minute premiere, and I was fully on board by that point. It was fantastic that first episode. But um yeah, I now that it's all over, I can say that I did enjoy it the entire season. Some episodes were not as um some people would use the word filler. I wouldn't, because in my opinion, none of this stuff is filler because it always comes back in one way or another. Like that's how a lot of people felt about Rebels. They're like, oh, this episode was filler or whatever. But at the end of the show, everything came back and in one way or another. Um, so yeah, I wouldn't call any of these filler, but some episodes of this season were more um they were more, I guess the right word to use is they were more bombastic than others. Like there was more going on. Some of them were just like, oh, we're just gonna go, we're gonna go rescue Jabba's Rancor, or like, we're gonna go do a little side mission here with the fucking the net, the nest or the bees or whatever that one episode was when they were like, oh, don't waken the
Infested.
hive. Yeah, infested.
That's the one that really kind of like That was the one that, and it's because it's in a, it's because the episodes before that are like really like good and like leading to something, and then they kind
Mm.
of throw in Infested in between that and the next interesting couple episodes that it's like, oh, it slowed us down a little bit. Like because before
Yeah,
that we got the Rylot stuff, which is very
yeah, the right.
exciting and was like I wanted to see more
Yeah.
of that, and then you kind of got Infested like right after that. I think it may have
So
been in a bad
they
spot.
Star Wars animation or Star Wars TV in general, I guess, kind of has a like they tend to do that.
Mm-hmm.
Like they'll give you like so another thing that I forgot to mention in my what I've done the past week is every week I've been doing a Clone Wars group watch with some people who haven't watched Clone Wars, and eventually we're gonna be going through Bad Batch and Rebels and all that stuff, right? We're doing it in chronological order, so we're currently in Clone Wars season 6. Then we'll be doing Bad Batch. Then we'll be doing Rebels. Anyway, but the reason why I bring this up is because I've noticed that they do that a lot in Clone Wars. Like they'll give you like these amazing arcs, and then they'll give you like okay, for example, they'll give you like um you remember in season 5 how they have season 5 has like a shit ton of great arcs. Um so in that they give you like um the the mall one, and then they give you like the younglings one where they have to build their lightsabers and stuff. And then after that they'll give you like the droid one where it's like you have the little tiny colonel dude and like the droids or whatever. Like it's not a terrible arc, but it's just like, man, there's just so much other cool stuff going on right now that I'd rather watch that instead of this. But they
Mm-hmm.
give you like that one thing, and then after that they're like, oh, here we go back to Mandalore, dude, and like the pre Vizsla and Maul and Satine and all that stuff happens after that, and then the Ahsoka arc, and it's like, and then they give you, oh, here's Clovis. They do stuff like that. Like there's a history of Star Wars animation doing that.
Yeah, it
So when you
climbs
so when you
and
so when you mention
climbs
the
and
Ryloth and you go
climbs.
infested, and then like they have a history of doing that. But anyway, let me go back. This season has 16 episodes. Um the premiere was a long one. It was like, again, like 70 minutes or something like that. It was basically like 2 episodes in one, and it was awesome. But anyway, so Josh, having seen the entire season now, did you enjoy it?
Oh, I absolutely did. Daniel can attest to this. As I because I told him I'm like I'm rewatching it again because I fell off and I needed
Yeah.
to refresh and like he saw me posting a D&D server like I want to run Star Wars game at the moment because as I
Yeah.
was watching Bad Batch it made me want to get back in there and play some Star Wars tabletop. Um, so because there's a lot of inspiration and cool shit that happens. There's a lot of commando shenanigans that I absolutely love. So yes, I did. I enjoyed the whole series, the way through. And since we were talking about the filler thing, the only time I ever really noticed the thing that people were talking about was with episode 13, which was infested episode. And the only reason
Yeah.
I like that one stands out to me is just because like we just had all that exciting shit with Ryloff, and like I don't consider it filler or anything like that. Like everything has a
Yeah.
reason,
It's just
but
not as
like
exciting as
I just
other stuff.
noticed it
Yeah.
there. Like the if that's the only episode that I really noticed was like that. The rest of them I didn't. I just enjoyed it all the way through. But like Infested was the one where I thought, oh man, we just got off this really exciting stuff, and now we're dealing with some bugs. But there's some cool shit in that episode. Um.
Yeah.
Uh.
Like since we're already talking about that, so one of the things that I really like seeing was the Pikes again, the Pike Syndicate. Like that was really
Mhm.
cool, man.
Yeah.
And I know Josh is gonna bring this up too, but some of his Critical Role homies were voicing some of those characters.
Yes, like a lot of. I heard a lot of Liam O'Brien and Sam Riegel in
Like
here.
like I'm pretty sure the main Pike dude was voiced by Liam.
Yeah, I think it is as well. Um.
Because
Like
I like
he's got a voice like you can't help but recognize it now that you know what he sounds like.
yeah. Yeah. Like I was watching, like I watch these when they drop, when they release, and like Bigfoot is there to watch. You know, where we watch them, and yeah, he recognized it right away too. Yeah, it's yeah, that was definitely something that I noticed for that. And yeah, I mean, yeah. So that infested episode is it's one of the weaker ones, but it's only because the ones that are before that and the ones that are after that are so good.
Yes.
Like it's not that this episode sucked. It was just, you know, there was the stuff before it and after it are just like so good that the this one was just fine, you know? Like it was like all right, like we're, you know, we're here in another week, and we're, you know, doing doing stuff here.
But before we
But
move on,
I like,
Daniel, I wanna
yeah.
ask you a question. Did you
Okay.
recognize Roland's voice actor, Roland Durand,
Did
in
I
that in that episode in Infested, the Devorian?
so I I was like wondering. I was like, wait a minute. I think I was like, I think recognize like as I was hearing it, I was like, I know that voice, but I just couldn't remember from where it was, and I was like, who is that? And and yeah, it was a thing that I couldn't. It wasn't until like it wasn't until like after the episode ended, and I looked at and I looked at the fucking the credits, and it's like, oh, it's Tom Taylorson, and I was like, oh, huh, where do I know that guy from? I because again, I recognized the voice like in the show. I was like, I've heard this before, but I just didn't know where. So you're saying that you definitely you recognize it as you were watching it, or what?
I did recognize it. Tom Taylorson is the voice of Scott Ryder from Mass Effect Andromeda. So he voices
Mm.
the main character if you play male as Mass Effect Andromeda. That's his voice you hear throughout the whole game. So as he was talking to Roland, I was like, wait, I know this. I know this fucking voice. He's been quite a few video games that we've played, but that was the one where I was like, wait, because I follow Tom on Twitter. Because when they announced him as the voice actor for Andromeda, I started following him on Twitter, and he's a pretty cool dude. But yeah, as when I watched that episode, I heard Roland talk. I'm like, this voice is so fucking familiar to me. It's because he was Scott's or writer's voice, my writer's
Yeah.
voice through all of Andromeda, and I was like, oh, I wonder if Daniel recognizes the voice too, because he played Andromeda, but it'd been a while since you'd played it.
Yeah, like
So I was kind of curious.
I was like, yeah, I remember being like, I heard, I know this voice, but I just don't know from what, you know. So yeah, that was it was interesting. No, but about that episode though, I thought it was cool. Again, seeing the Pikes, and we get a little bit more about the underworld in that episode too. You know, like again, like Roland's like the Durand is the Durand crime family. Like, you know, they're a thing. You know,
Hmm.
his mom Issa Durand was a crime boss, and whatnot. So like hearing stuff like that is kind of cool when we're away from the empire and away from all that other shit that we know about from the movies and everything. Like it's really cool hearing about the underworld side of things. So again, seeing the Pikes, and you know, Sid's parlor on Ord Mantell, and we have, you know, all these crime people, and it's great. So for that reason, I like that episode, or those are some of the things I like from that episode. You know, in particular.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, I
Before,
think yeah,
yeah, go
go
ahead.
for it.
Well, I was just gonna ask you. Did you have a favorite Bad Batch commando, like their trooper? Do you have a favorite one?
I do. I think I like Hunter. He's the
You like
one.
Hunter?
He's the one. Hunter is the one that I like more than anybody.
I like
Yeah,
Wrecker. Wrecker is my go-to.
Wrecker.
The big beefy beat the hell out of you. Not all smart,
Yeah,
but like got a heart of gold kind of Wrecker. Except for the
yeah.
episode with the chip, and that shit got fucking dark, bro. And I was like, oh, that would be terrifying. You know,
Because
like oh my
they
god.
lead up to that. They lead up to that before that happens. Because like you see, like every episode, he gets hit in the head, dude.
Yeah, they
and
lead up to it.
he keeps getting hit in the fucking head, and you're like, oh, dude, his ship is gonna go off any episode now.
And they tricked me in one of the earlier episodes where I'm like, oh, he's faking the headache. So, like at the end of the episode where where he makes Omega a place to sleep, like her own room, I was like, my brain went, oh, he faked it so he could stay behind on this mission and make her the room. Until it keeps happening in later episodes, and then I'm like, oh no, this is gonna be bad. Oh, oh my
Yeah.
god, that episode where Wrecker goes like full Order 66, dude, that is terrifying because he's so
Could you?
huge.
He's a big mother. Yeah. Could you imagine? Like, yeah, that's that's
If
pretty
the
nuts, dude.
if the Empire got their hands on that guy, oh my god. All I could think of is like he's terrifying.
Yeah, I believe the episode was called Battle Scars.
Um, I know we're leaping
'Cause-
around a lot, guys, but I can't help it because there's certain
Yeah.
parts that stick out to me in certain episodes, and they just cross my mind, and I got to talk about them, especially
Yeah.
when it involves the Wrecker, because like I said, he's kind of like my favorite out of all the Bad Batchers. Um,
Mhm.
but that
Well,
episode is like, woof,
yeah.
crazy.
Speaking of which, also, like, since we're talking about like the Bad Batch characters, I really like Omega, dude. She's fucking
Yeah,
awesome.
yeah.
I remember like before the show starting, I was like, who is that? You know, I'm like, not like in a bad way, but I'm just like, who is that? You know, like who could that be? Like I was just trying to figure out like who this little like I remember like in the trailers, I didn't even know it was a girl based off the damn trailer. I thought it was like a little like a little boy, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And they're like, oh, her name, I'm Omega, you know, she's a
Let
girl. And
me
then
get.
like, yeah, yeah,
Mm-hmm.
Omega.
I'll make it.
The way I always crack up the way she says the name. She's like Rika,
Mm-hmm.
Crosshair,
Yeah,
Panta. No, she's great though, dude. And then like I gotta give props to the voice actress too. I think her name is Michelle Ong. She's
mm-hmm.
like she's a Kiwi New Zealand actress as well. Shout out to her. She did a great job voicing Omega. Yeah, and I ended up loving Omega. Like she's a really cool character. And then like
She's the
there are
heart of
things
the
that we
show.
yeah,
Like
there
really.
are things that we find out about her character where I'm like, dude,
Yeah,
dude,
yeah.
we gotta where does she go after this? Like I'm really curious. So I'm gonna talk a little before we talk about some of the
Please.
other episodes. I want to talk about Omega a little bit. This is gonna
Yeah,
be
go crazy.
huge spoiler warning for. So again, if you're here watching this right now, I mean, like we've already talked about some things, so I mean you've already been spoiled. But this is we're going into huge spoiler territory here, so you've been warned. So Omega, we find out not only is a uh, clone of Jango Fett. She's a female clone of Jango Fett. Not only do we find that out, but we also find out that she is like one of the earlier clones, like they reference in the show. There's an alpha and an omega. Who was the alpha? It was fucking Boba Fett, and Omega obviously is the Omega because she doesn't. We don't have like an actual name for her yet. She's just Omega. So she's fucking Boba Fett's sister, dude. Like everybody is like Boba Fett's brother or whatever. Like they're all brothers because they're all clones or whatever. But like she's like legit, like Boba and her are like the two unaltered clones. Like Omega is older than the Bad Batch. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like that's so fucking cool, dude. The fact that she's basically Django's daughter and Boba's sister. Like that's fucking cool, man. That is so cool. I remember seeing after the episode there was a meme where it's like you remember the Step Brothers poster that had like fucking Will Ferrell and John C. Riley, and it's like it has both of them and it's like Step Brothers or whatever. Um, I saw somebody Photoshop that and it was like Step Clones or something and it had Boba and Omega on it and it was pretty funny. But yeah, like that's crazy, dude. Like like I am really like in like super curious about her character now. Like I want to know what happens to her, like after the events of her hanging out um with the Bad Batch. Like an older Omega. Like what is she doing like in the future? Like let's say like in the time of the Mandalorian, like is Omega still alive? What is she doing? You know? Like I'm curious about that. Or like what is she doing in the original trilogy era? You know, like I just so it's so fascinating, dude. Like her character is really interesting to me. Like I hope she makes it out alive out of all of this because I would be very intrigued to see um what would happen. But yeah, I really like her character and we've seen her grow because she's spent all her life on Camino and she didn't know anything other than that. We saw in the very first episode how she was amazed by hyperspace because she'd never left Camino. So you get to see her like wide eyes, looking at the stars and stuff. And, she's one of the early episodes, I think it's the second one, where we go to Salukamai with Cut and his, which is Cut LaQuain, which is or Laquan. I forget how you say his last name. I think it's LaQuain. Where it's like the clone who like abandons the army in the Clone Wars, and we get to see him again with his family, his Twi'lek wife and daughter, and daughter and son or whatever.
Hmm.
Omega's like, oh, I never, she's like, what is this? And it's like dirt or mud or whatever. And she doesn't know what any of that stuff is. So we get to see her not only, grow that way, but like she, later on with Sid, she doesn't know how to use the bow. And Sid's like, because you got those little weak arms, you gotta, you gotta keep working at it. So yeah, Omega in this entire season grows a lot. Um, you know, and a lot of this, like you were saying, she is the heart of the show because a lot of the things that Bad Batch ends up doing is because of her,
Yeah.
or for her. So she's a very pivotal key character in all of this. So yeah, I'm just super curious like what happens with her in the future. But yeah, I just wanted to talk about her a little bit because I really like that character, and the voice actress Michelle Ong has been killing it, and yeah, it's been super cool seeing her relationship with the Bad Batchers.
Yeah. 100% agree. Um, I I'm always a little uh the old me. I should really say would always be like a little when they add in like a young character with the badass like crew, right? Um,
Yeah,
but she never feels out of place to me here. Like she always feels like she belongs with the Bad Batch, and can hold her own and doesn't always need them with her, especially when she gets like the badass bow
the
blaster
bow, yeah,
thing. Um,
energy
that
bow,
fucking
yeah.
weapon's cool. Yeah, the energy bow. Um, uh, but no, she feels just as important as they are as well. So like, yeah, I actually really like the character of Omega with the Bad Batch. Um, and she is definitely the heart of the show. Like especially when she's like, "They're my brothers, and you're my brother too." Like that shit. That shit hit me, man. It hit me a little bit. All right. I was like,
So
"Oh, that's so
I
sweet."
have something very interesting to mention about that scene when we get to that. Whenever we want to
Okay,
get to
okay,
that.
yeah. Well, what do you want to talk about next?
Well,
Mm.
I think we should talk about the very first episode because there's a lot that goes
Mm.
down in that first episode.
Hmm.
So we start off still in the Clone Wars during this episode at the very beginning of the show. We're on this planet called Kaller or Collar. Starts with a K, Kaller, and we're still in the middle of the war. It's the Clone Wars are still raging on, and it's obviously this is at the very end of it because we get Order 66 immediately, and then we have Jedi Master Depa Balaba and her Padawan Caleb Doom, aka fucking Kane and Jarrus.
Hmm.
For those, spoiler, but again, like that's if you've seen Rebels, then that's not a spoiler. Uh, uh, and so that we get Order 66, and we see Depa fall, and then Crosshair kind of goes a little crazy and starts going after Caleb, and Caleb kind of like trusts him a little bit because they were kind of like cool when they had first met, but yeah, with that, but he sees that as kind of like a betrayal, and he kind of like just runs off and runs away. Hunter kind of lets him go too, and then Crosshair is like, "Yo, where'd the little Jedi go? He couldn't have fallen down there because there's no body or something." He's something along those lines. So about that, I speaking of Caleb, I think it's cool that they brought back Freddie Prinze Jr.
Hmm.
But that is a weird voice for like a little teeny bopper teenage kid to have, like a grown
Yeah.
ass Freddie Prinze Jr. I thought that was a little off, you know. But I mean, it is cool that they brought him back. I just didn't think it worked all that well. Cause like it's fine when you have the older version of the character, like that makes sense. But like for the younger version, it seemed off, you know, having like a
Yeah.
little teenager sound like that. I don't know. But again,
Pre voice when you have like an older character like um Kanan, and then you bring back like Freddie Prince and give it the same voice. Like our voices change as we get older, at a certain
yeah,
point. So yeah, it is a little like dis- distracting. I also think it's cool that they brought him back, obviously, because
yeah,
I
it's
love
it's
Freddie
it's
Prince.
awesome that they brought him back, but
But
it's just
it's a little weird.
weird
It
for
is
the
a little
character.
strange.
Yeah,
Yeah, it doesn't quite fit.
yeah.
Mm, but yeah,
But I mean, it was again for this episode. It was cool seeing battle droids again, and like you get to see these cool clones like Captain Gray, which was in the episode like for like a second, but like he was with the dude with who received the Order 66 with
oh my
Depa
god.
Balaba.
How many times do I have to live through Order 66, bro? I've seen it so many times, and it's
A
horrifying
lot.
every time. Like in the
The
fucking video games, in the fucking
the
shows, the
movies and the
fucking
shows, yeah.
movies. It's like I have to
I mean,
relive this moment of horror
w-
so many
we
times.
already know every time we're in this time period or not time period. Anytime we're in this like specific timeline, point in the time, we know we're gonna get
Yeah.
Order 66. Yeah,
Yeah, I know. It's just like, oh my god. It's like I think to myself, I've relived this horrifying moment so many times.
yeah.
Uh, and it doesn't like lose how horrifying it is either, no matter how many
No,
times I've seen it. Like I know what's
yeah,
coming, and it's still terrible. Uh, but I did
yeah,
think in my head, I'm like, oh my god, I've lived through this so many times, and here I get to go again through it.
yeah.
Uh,
Get to watch it again. Yeah. So then after they leave after that they leave the planet. They go back to Camino. They go back home. I don't want to talk about the whole episode because it's we have a lot of episodes to talk
yeah,
about, but like the intro one is good because there's sets up everything. So they go back to Camino and they talk a little bit about that. We see Tipoca City kind of like being under the command of the Empire now. You got like shock troopers and Tarkin and Admiral Rampart, trying to like quickly like shift things over to the Empire from the Republic. Like they're like wasting no time, dude. They got like Camino has like I mean like I said they've we get to see it kind of being run by the Empire, but at this point.
our boy Charles voices Rampart, by the way, from Red Dead. Did you realize that? I was like, I know that voice. It's Charles Smith from Red Dead. uh, um, yeah.
Um so yeah, Tarkin is kind of like not impressed with the clones, so he asks about, Task Force 99 and he asks if they executed Order 66. and then they kind of get little they get tested a little bit, but Tarkin later kind of like tests their loyalty by sending them off to Onderon to kind of take down the group of insurgents. Um, and they go to Onderon and they meet Saw Gerrera, and he kind of tells them like, "Yo, dude, like we just went through a war. Like, do we really want to go through another one? Like, I'm trying to like stop another war from happening. Like, I don't, like we gotta make sure we take down the empire before it gets too big, or and he kind of like he tells him he talks to him and tells him all that stuff, and he's like, you gotta make your choice because you know they obviously we know the Bad Batch wasn't gonna take him down, and that kind of continues with Crosshairs like yo, wait a minute, we're supposed to be following the whole good soldiers follow orders type thing where it's like yo, we have to follow through with these orders, but Hunter and the rest of the guys are like, nah, we're not doing this. So they get branded traitors and they get captured and thrown into some quarters with AZ, the droid AZ. Um, and Crosshair, uh, well, they break out of prison and then kind of is they kind of like uh Crosshair decides to remain low to the Empire while the others don't. So the rest of the guys are trying to escape, and then Omega kind of shows up because we get introduced to her earlier on the episode where she's like, "Yo, I know who you guys are. Hello, I'm Omega. I'm a clone like you guys, and I've been watching you guys from afar or whatever." Because Omega usually works with Nala Se, uh, and Omega was kind of like Nala Se's little like I don't know. I guess she kind of always thought of her as kind of um like maybe like a daughter or like a special. Well, because Omega is special. I mean, we know. I mean, I already talked about why she's special and all that stuff, but like Nala Se has like a personal attachment to Omega. At least that's how it seems like in the beginning. And when the Bad Batch are escaping, Lamas or not Lamasu, fucking Nala Se helps them escape as they leave Camino and go off into hyperspace. But yeah, so there's obviously there's a lot more that goes on in that episode, but that's kind of just like a little recap of what happens. So the Bad Batch is finishing off the Clone Wars, and they get branded as traitors, and they have to go off on their own and try to you know do their thing and whatnot. But yeah, it's through each one of these episodes, like it's just cool seeing them like you know try and stay afloat and figure out what to do in this new regime of the Empire. Like they get hit with like in the next episode with like the chain code things happens already,
Mm-hmm.
because fucking Rampart is just very Vice Admiral Rampart is just very like they're trying to go from the empire to the Empire from the Republic real fast. They're changing up everything as soon as possible. So he wants to get started on that, and then there's the War Mantle, and then there's like a bunch of there's like so many things that they're doing to replace the Republic like right away. Which like I thought some of this stuff would take a little longer to happen. Like I didn't think that the clones would be replaced like that quickly. Like I always figured it was like a couple of years, that they'd still had the clones around. Because I mean, I figure if you got them, then might as well keep using them until they're like no longer useful, right? So like
Yeah.
just let the clones run their course, the remaining ones that you have left, and then after that, you kind of once they like start dwindling, then you're like, all right, then we got to start bringing in then we got to start Project War Mantle. But nah, man, they just do it right away. But anyway, I feel like I've been talking a lot. So Josh, let's what's something else you wanna bring up here? Because there's a lot of episodes, and yeah, there's a lot to talk about. So what do you want to go to? What do you want to get through
I
next?
was just gonna continue your thought for a minute on the replacing the clones,
Yeah, which
fairly
which by the
quickly.
way is called Project War Mantle, and
Yeah.
we first heard about this in Rogue One. I wanted to mention. Do you remember when they're stealing the when they're trying to steal the Death Star plans,
Hmm.
and Jin and and Cassian and K2 are in like the vault, and they're looking through all the code names. They're like, oh, project this and project that. They mentioned War Mantle as one of those, so that's pretty cool. I just want to bring that up quickly. Go ahead.
The reason I was gonna continue your thoughts on the clones getting replaced sooner, like I was kind of the same thought of you, like let them use them and let them run their course. But then I got to
Yeah,
thinking, like afterwards, like because Rampart, I think, is even going kind of for this. Like it makes sense to recruit like people that want to join uh the new empire and to like get
yeah,
them indoctrinated as soon as possible.
yeah,
Um
and mhm.
because like this is gonna sound really bad, but like the Nazis in World War II, right? Like it's kind of like that. Like you
No, it is
indoctrinate
like that. Yeah,
all those fresh
I mean, yeah, the Empire is
troops in
literally
there.
based off the
Yeah, I mean
Nazis, with
they're
with
Nazis.
the stormtroopers and the Imperial officers and all that stuff. So no, yeah,
Yeah.
it's a good
Mm.
it's a good comparison you're making there because that's literally what they are. So anyway,
Uh-huh. And we see in later episodes, particularly with Hauser, the clone
mm,
on Ryloth, that like some of those clones are more loyal to like the people they served with than they are to the Empire, even with the chip. So like this the and that it's never really truly, I don't think, unless I missed it, like explained why he's like that. Other than like he has a
Hauser, no,
loyalty uh to to Cham and the Ryloth
Cham,
people.
and
Like
yeah,
is there do the chips start to wear off after a while or something like that? Or is is his not working correctly? Is that
yeah.
because
I
it's not
was,
just him though, right? Like because toward the end of the episode he does
uh,
the speech, which by the way, I think if I had to pick two favorite episodes, it would be those two episodes, the Ryloth two-parter.
the Ryloth
Um,
ones. Mhm.
yeah. Um, Although the finale is really good as well. Those two are amazing. Um, but because he gives like this speech, like what the fuck are we doing? Like we fought with these people. Like now we're gonna like turn on them, and some of those clones that he talks to join him, even though it's like
Yeah,
they're doing an open act of rebellion. They'll probably be executed. Like but they do it
because here's
anyway.
what I thought. I thought Crosshair was gonna fucking execute Hauser like on the
I thought
spot.
he was going to too. I thought he was going to shoot him.
I was like, oh, dude, I like Hauser so much, and this is gonna be it. He's just gonna die,
Mm-hmm.
because he let everybody else escape, and he himself knows, like, I'm kind of fucked here. But yeah, he convinced the clones or his homies to like be like, yo, like you said, what the hell are we doing here? Like, we came here to help these people, not enslave them.
Mm-hmm. And
Yeah,
like
so that was
those are good. He's like, there's some
yeah,
good troopers out there. I'm not gonna abandon my squad. There's some good men there. And the thing is, he's right because he goes out there and does the speech, and they throw down their weapons. Some of them do
yeah.
and join him. So like, he knows his men, and he is correct in that they're not all like there are good troopers among them. And I love that whole like yeah, yeah. Like the clones are always like a little bit of a problematic thing because they're almost like slaves. They are slaves. They're slaves to the Republic that have these like they're built to wage war on behalf of the Republic against the Separatists. And then
Yeah,
later on, they're turned on to like straight up slavery with the inhibitor chips,
yeah,
interfering with them. Except like you get the occasional clone like Hauser, and that seems to resist that. Um, so I really like the that dynamic where they're like trying to figure out like some of them are like rebelling against it a little bit. Like I like the little pushback on yeah, we're not all like this. Because that's fascinating to me. Like, what makes them special? What makes them different? That they're able to resist the effects of the inhibitor chip to realize what they're doing is wrong, even though they've been raised and trained to fight for the Republic slash future Empire at this point. So
Yeah.
um, that part always fascinates me, which is why Hauser and Hauser is probably the reason I like those two episodes a lot, is because his character is
He's
super interesting.
so something that I wanted to talk about earlier, but that I didn't, but I guess we could talk about now is some of our favorite new characters because this show introduced new characters like Omega, Hauser. Hauser was not a thing before this show, you know,
Hmm.
like he's such a great character, but like he was not in the Clone Wars, like he didn't exist. Like they created him specifically for these two episodes. Um, and I really liked his character. Like I was hoping we would see more of him. I hope we do see more of him in like season 2 or something because he's great, dude.
Hmm.
He's one of my favorite characters. Omega's one of my favorite characters. Um, I'm trying to think of who else was like a new character that was introduced in the show. I think Sid was kind of cool too, also.
Yeah, with Trandoshans.
Um,
Dope. I love
yeah,
Trandos.
Trandoshan, older Trandoshan woman, being in charge of her own like parlor or whatever on Mord Mandel is pretty
Hmm.
cool. We had returning characters like again, we mentioned Caleb Doom earlier, and like we had Hera and Chopper in the Ryloth stuff, which was really cool to see. It was awesome. Like me and Yorko were like freaking out, and Bigfoot didn't get it because he hasn't seen Rebels yet. You know, we're like, oh my god, it's fucking Chopper and Hera. You know, but we weren't trying to like, you know, because he'll watch it eventually. But it's like, you know, we
Hmm.
don't want to be too like, you know, but we were excited obviously seeing them.
Yeah, yeah, you can't
Um,
help it.
and then you had Cad Bane too, you know, and like, oh man, that was a great fucking episode or two that he was in as well. Then you
Little
got
lady.
Fennec. We
Yeah,
haven't talked,
Finnick.
yeah. Hello there, little lady. Fennec, and dude, Fennec versus Cad Bane was fucking awesome, dude. That little fight they had.
Hmm. Cat Bane got
Yeah,
his butt kind of handed to him a couple times in
he
that
kind of
one.
did. He kind of ended up getting outsmarted there at the end of that.
Uh-huh.
At the end of that fight. Um, but yeah, like I'm trying to think of like new characters: Hauser, Sid, Omega. I guess Roland counts. Rampart is a new character. I think Rampart is a good like villain type character, you know,
Oh
like a
yeah,
bad guy. Because
yeah, he
you
is.
fucking hate him. You're like, fuck this guy, dude, you know? But yeah, so yeah, I'm trying to think of who else, but those are the ones I can think of off the top of my head that were like new characters introduced to the world or the universe from the show.
If I can go back to Hauser for just like one more second, and the reason I
Yeah,
found
go
him
for
so
it. Yeah, we're still
fascinating
on that topic. Yeah.
and the Ryloth arc so interesting is like,
The Ryloth arc was one of the best things of the season for sure.
so the reason I like it so much is because, you know, Hauser, but it also like opens my mind up to like, all right, if this is happening here, what's happening on these other planets that we're not seeing? All right, what other clones are kind of uh, not necessarily rebelling, but like kind of going against their programming, like how like Hauser is here, like. So I think that feeds also back into War Mantle. We're not seeing necessarily seeing it. Rampart might have kind of seen it coming, and that's why like we got kind of like we need to replace these guys. But there's definitely like even in the last episode when there's a clone on the bridge of the starship, like giving those, you know, his report on what happened in the finale, like, and its voice is kind of shaky. It's emotional, like, you know, that's a characters that a voice a clone that could be having second thoughts, which is really interesting to me. And I'm curious to see if more of the next season of the Bad Batch is going to delve into that, more of those kind of clones, kind of like fighting back a little bit
Mhm.
against that kind of programming, like the regular clones. Obviously, the Bad Batch is immune
Yeah,
to that kind of shit, but like so like that shit always fascinates me. It always
yeah,
made me wonder, um, you know, were there clones that kind of resist it a bit more? And we got it with Hauser and the Ryloth arc and some of those clones with him.
yeah,
Um, so yes, definitely. Um, if I had to pick two, if I had a gun to my head, pick two favorite episodes from this season. Those are the two episodes. Favorite new character. Probably would be Hauser, although we only get him for those 2 episodes.
Yeah, I was hoping we
So
would see more of him, but hopefully next season because he was great, man. Yeah.
well, I can't actually say that because Omega is like pretty up there in terms of new characters, but Hauser is very
Yeah.
interesting to me in terms of new clones, new
Yeah.
like
Yeah. Yeah.
clone fighters.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. So yeah, we were talking about like returning characters. I know I talked about briefly about Saw, but Saw was Guerrero was a returning character.
mhm.
Fennec. We had the Martez sisters, Rafa and Trace from season 7 of Clone Wars. They were the ones that led Rex to the Bad Batch. Cad Bane, Hera, Chopper, Toto. We even had Gregor again.
Yeah.
Which he was in the last couple episodes there.
Oh fuck me, we saw Scorch for a second in those episodes. Did you realize? I didn't even realize that till like.
I
Uh,
I so I look so when that episode dropped, I was like, is that Scorch? Because they didn't never made him talk, and we never saw the rest of the Delta Squad. So I don't know if that's him. Because
I
I
think it
was very
is.
sure that it was, but then they never showed anybody else, and they never made him talk, and then they never brought him back again. And then they kind of took him out kind of easy, if you remember.
Yeah,
I
I
was
think.
like,
Well, Scorch isn't killed. I don't think. Um, well, here's the thing. There's a couple different commandos, and some of them look alike, and some of them don't. So
a
I
lot of
think,
them. A lot of them have just the basic white
yeah,
armor. And that
yeah.
one
So
that one other guy had like the Scorch-esque armor, which I again, yeah, I want to say it is, but I'm not 100% sure.
the
I don't know.
because we see the Scorch I'm talking about, we see at the very end of that episode, that captures Hunter, in the background. He never talks throughout the whole episode, um, and I don't think he's dead. I think he's still there because unless I'm getting my clones mixed up, which I don't think I am because I just watched it the other day, and I tend to remember Delta Squad because I loved Republic Commando, and I've kind of always thought about what because they always thought about having a sequel with Imperial Commando, so I was kind of curious if we'd see them for some Order 66 stuff. I'm not 100% sure. It might not be Scorch. I thought it was Scorch.
Yeah, I,
Um,
I mean, I'm like I said, I'm with you there because I thought it was him too, but I haven't really seen anything that confirms it. But he looks very similar. Like he looks like that looks like him.
if
But
it's not
I just
him,
don't
it's
know.
definitely inspired by him. Like
Oh, it
because
is. Oh,
man,
it is. Yeah, they had a lot of Republic Commando inspiration stuff in these episodes. Like, do you remember the episode where Hunter loses his duel with Cad Bane, and we get to see the inside of his helmet? That was super Republic Commando, dude. When they
oh
were
yeah,
dragging his injured ass off, like that was Republic Commando. Literally all the other Republic Commandos. I saw that the David W. Collins used the sound of the blasters from Republic Commando as like the blaster sounds in the show too. So there's a lot of Republic Commando Easter eggs. I'm just not. I don't want to say for sure that is Scorch because even though it like almost looks like it looks almost identical, I just haven't seen anything that confirms that it is him. So I want to say it is, but I'm not sure. But either way, it's fucking cool, dude, that they would do
what's
that.
this? This says I sorry, I just looked up just looked up Scorch. It's on the Wikipedia as it's him, but it says David Collins, who did sound for that episode, revealed that
Uh-huh.
he reused the original game sound for Scorch's
Yeah, there you
blaster
go.
from Republic Commando.
That's that's what I was kind of referring to right now. Like,
Yeah,
because I saw him,
gotcha.
I saw him tweet that out because I follow him on Twitter and he was talking
Yeah,
about that.
there's some photos here too. I'm just gonna throw up these photos in the chat. Like it doesn't mean
Yeah,
anything. Obviously, it's just looks, but
yeah, like it looks very like that looks close, but I'm just not sure, man. That's the
yeah,
thing.
it'd be cool if it was.
It would be awesome if it was. I mean, I was
But
just hoping to see
I was,
the rest of the Delta
yeah,
Squad
I'd
too.
want to see the whole Delta Squad, like because I think before the Bad Batch came on, we had talked about some Star Wars stuff that we'd want. And
Yeah,
we talked about Delta Squad a little bit, like for just like a
we
hot
did.
second, and then
Yeah,
when I saw what I thought was Scorch and this fucking because look, the moment I see a clone commando, I start looking Delta Squad. Where you at, Delta
yeah,
Squad? I'm looking for you in there
yeah.
because because you can't help it. I love Delta Squad. I loved the game. So like,
So my hope is that now that we've seen more of these commandos, I hope that season 2 we actually get Delta Squad as like maybe like an antagonist or
oh
something.
my
Like, could
god,
you imagine like them being like the main bad guys for season
yeah,
2?
the
We
entire
have the
Imperial
Bad Batch
Commandos
and Delta,
arc.
yeah, right? Yeah,
Oh my god,
because like like something has to happen to these commandos, bro. Like you like in the age of the Empire, there are no commandos. Like I mean, they have like death troopers and dark troopers and like other like badass stormtroopers, but they don't have like commandos like the Republic did, right? So something
yeah.
has to happen to all these guys. And we
Here's
know that they've been using them to train the TKs and whatever. That's why Gregor was stuck there and you know, all that stuff. But which by the way, how'd you feel about the TK stormtrooper armor? The like mix between
I
clone and
liked it.
stormtrooper?
I thought it
I
looked
did
cool.
too. You know what it was? It was like basically the concept art Macquarie armor from like the like OG Star Wars, like Macquarie concept art stormtrooper armor. That's basically what it was, and I thought it was really really cool, man.
No, it
I
looks
thought it was
great.
awesome.
I liked it. I
Yeah,
was like, hope I get an action figure of that. Um,
yeah, yeah,
um, to go back to the Commandos for just a second. Um,
yeah.
the see in my mind, I would always think that Commandos. I don't know why when I was younger I would think this was like the clone Commandos would be like more resistant to Order 66, but if
Mm,
anything, they would almost be more like maybe susceptible to it because they're so much more highly trained and ingrained by the Republic slash Empire. Um, so it makes sense also for them to train the future TKs, the future stormtroopers.
yeah.
Um, uh, so like when I saw the commandos, I'm like, why are the commandos going along so easily with this? Because of like I'm used to Delta Squad, and they're also different and like rebellious in their own kind of ways. Um,
Mhm.
but in a way, I guess it makes more sense that they would be kind of in there, and you know they could still kind of maybe eventually break free, like we saw kind of with the character of Hauser, who was just the basic storm clone trooper, almost a stormtrooper, clone trooper, um, commander fella. Yeah, I hope we definitely see more of the clone commandos in season 2. And now that you said that, I want Delta Squad to be the bad guys for that entire
Yeah,
season.
I mean, like at the so literally at the end of this season, like right after we get. So let's talk about that last episode real quick, right? Or do
Mm.
you want to talk about the last two? The
No,
last two,
talk.
right? I think it makes
We can
sense.
talk about the last two because they're in Arca.
Yeah, so we'll talk about Return to Camino. So they go back to Camino, and we have um, you know, Hunter has been captured. He was captured in the previous episode, War Mantle, when we got to see the Scorch-esque commando and all the other commandos and all the new TKs and all that stuff. Um, so we go to Camino and they find Hunter's signal. They know he's there. Uh, we go to Tapoca City and they they find him and they basically are trying to get like Crosshair to like rejoin them. But what I thought was interesting is that Crosshair kind of has like a dark side, like join me and we can rule the galaxy together type moment with Hunter,
Mm-hmm.
where he's like, "Yo, the Empire is taking over. They're taking over the galaxy. I want to be a part of that. Join us. You know, like what are you
Mm-hmm.
doing? You know, like why are you not with us? You know, like I'm giving you the choice. I'm giving you a choice, which is what you did not give me. You know." He's like,
You abandoned me. Like who betrayed
"Yeah,
who? Like that shit was like, oof.
yeah."
That's some good
You're like
shit.
you're like he's got a point, but
Yeah, he
still, you
does.
know, like
uh, yeah, I love that whole conversation he had with Hunter in the training ish area. I think it was when they were talking in the training room, danger room.
Mhm.
Uh,
Yeah,
it was
in the training
good
room,
talk.
yeah.
Yeah, I loved every bit
Which
of
is the
that.
same training room that we get to see in the very first episode when they do that, and then we see it in Clone Wars and all that stuff. Um, but basically, like the Empire like evacuates everybody from the city, from Tapoca City, and like they they kill Lamasu too, by the way. Like Lamasu is like the prime minister of Kamino. He's the dude, the main, Kaminoan guy that we see. We see him originally in Attack of the Clones with Tanwi, which Tanwi, by the way, also died earlier. She was killed by fucking Fennec in that episode where her and
Hmm.
Cad Bane fight. But anyway, uh, so everybody evacuates Camino. All the regular clones and droids and everybody everybody gets evacuated off Camino. And then we have Rampart coming in with a bunch of Venators, a bunch of the Star Destroyers, and they just start, fucking Tarkin is like, you may fire when ready, and they
Hmm.
just start bombarding the shit out of Tipoca City,
They give it
and
the
it's,
terrorist treatment.
dude, that was like, that one hits hard. That one hit that moment hit hard for me because
as
right
as
before
it
that,
as it flashed through, right? Like the
yeah, you
flash
get to see
throughs.
all the empty hallways, and they like gave you that like final, like, this is it, like Camino, this is it for Camino, like
No, it hit
Tipoca
me too.
City is like like for me, like the prequels were my Star Wars movies, like growing up and stuff. Like obviously, like I mentioned this in the past many times, like but for those of you watching this episode and you haven't seen any of the other ones, like I grew up with original trilogy Star Wars, like those are the first ones that I watched and all that. But like the prequels are like my Star Wars, because like I remember watching those as a kid and like Phantom Menace, Attack of the Clones, and Revenge of the Sith. Like those are the three that like I remember going to the theater watching all of them. Like they're amazing. Like that's my stuff. So seeing Camino be destroyed, it's like, man, there goes part of your childhood is getting destroyed right here with fucking Camino getting Tapoca City getting obliterated. And just, yeah, you get to see it like right before it happens. They flash to like all the different rooms in the building, and it just, man, it's rough, dude. It's rough. I felt like, well, I'll get back to that later when we talk about the next episode. I was gonna say something, but we'll talk about the next episode. Um, or when we talk about the next episode here in a bit. Yeah, it's rough, dude. Like everything just gets blown up, and you're like, fuck, like this is it, dude. Like man, like we really are at the end of the Clone Wars. Like everything that once was is no longer.
Hmm.
All the clones, all the memories that we've had here, because we've had Camino since Attack of the Clones, which came out in 2002. So we've had Camino for almost 20 years. It's been 19 years that we've had Camino. And now finally we get to see the end. We get to see its destruction. And originally, you know what I thought? Do you remember the campaign for Battlefront 2? The original
Hmm.
Battlefront 2.
Yeah, I know exactly where you're going.
They do this mission where there's like a clone insurgents or
I
on
remember because I
Camino.
was I was thinking the same thing.
I was hoping that they were gonna do that in this show, but I mean, we didn't. But how cool would that have been if we got to see like stormtroopers against clone troopers, just
My brain was wondering, is
fight it
like, are they
out?
kind of building? I was wondering too. I was like, are they kind of building to that? Are they going to reference
Yeah,
it in some way? Is that kind of what
because
they're
that's what
moving
I
toward?
thought at one point, but then you just see the Venators and you're like, all right, well that's it, I guess. But I would have loved to have seen that, man. But again, that's just like, that's just hopeful thinking on my part, being like, oh man, that was a cool thing that they did in an old game that I wish they would have brought back and made canon. But
I just always remember the little briefing they would have before that, where
yeah, the 501st journal, and then you have Tamora
yeah, the
Morrison
journal.
talking and stuff. Yeah,
Yeah, and he's talking about it like we all knew what was going to happen, but nobody
yeah,
said a word.
this like
You know,
old
that
grizzled
shit.
clone and stuff. Yeah.
I'm gonna listen to those probably after we're done with the podcast, because like I want to again,
Yeah,
but
like that's what
like,
I thought they were gonna do. Go with I thought that was gonna be the Camino Rebellion, or the Camino
hmm,
Uprising or whatever, and it never happened, which makes it more tragic because they don't even have a chance. They just get like they evacuate everybody and just obliterate the whole thing.
yeah.
And yeah, I mean that's kind of where that first episode ends, and then going on to the finale, Camino lost. Like, mm, so the finale, I think a lot of people expected it to be a little bit more bombastic because it was a finale. It was, yeah, there you go. Officially, that there was never a clone rebellion coming. Exactly,
Yeah,
exactly.
exactly. I love
That's what
those.
I thought they were gonna do, but they didn't anyway. Uh, so I think people were expecting a lot from this finale, for some reason. Like, yeah, it's a finale, and we've had like amazing finales in Star Wars TV in the past. Like, I mean, shit, Mandalorian season 2 was a fucking amazing finale. Uh, Rebels and Clone Wars had amazing finales. Like, yeah, but I think this one was just more of a like somber, like this is truly the end.
Yeah.
Like, I think this episode truly marked the end of the Clone Wars era. Like, when you see Camino, like, just, or when you see Tapoka City just like literally crashing down beneath in the deep waters, and like the Bad Batch are trying to escape, and like you see that big ass water creature on the outside, which, by the way, I was like, God damn, that reminded me of like when we were on Naboo and up in Phantom Menace, and you see all those big water sea monsters.
Hmm.
Um, but like, just to jump ahead a little bit at the end to the end of the episode. At the end of the episode, you talked about this a little bit earlier when Omega is like talking to Crosshair, and she's like, "These are my brothers, and you are too, right?"
Hmm.
When she's telling them that stuff, that is, I believe, the very first time we have ever seen Camino when it's not rainy and stormy and like everything. Because if you notice, it's like sunny and uh like we've never seen Camino look like that before, You
You're
see
right.
like the debris.
I didn't even think about it till just now, but you're
Yeah,
right. Like
like we've never seen Camino look like that. Like it's always been stormy and rainy and like it's never we've never seen it like that before. Like I think part of it is actually kind of ironic. Like the Empire like destroyed this place, but it also rid it of the Kaminoans. Like I don't know, like it kind of like reset the planet in a way, if that makes sense. You know what I mean? Like
yeah, I get what you're saying. Yeah.
yeah, like it's kind of messed up, but yeah, like we've never seen Camino like that before, like ever, as far as I know. Because every time we go to it, it's always rainy and stormy, and it's a fucking water planet, So there's like always nothing but rain and water. But at the end of that episode, for the first time, when the Bad Batch is about to leave, they're on the platform with the Marauder, and then they're all talking to each other. It's like sunny and like there's no stormy, and it's not raining, and it's like the calm, It's the calm after the storm, after
Hmm.
everything that's happened for all these years. So it's actually kind of like it's nuts, dude. Like I couldn't believe it. I was like, wow, this is like literally the first time we've ever seen Camino look like this.
Yeah.
Um,
I didn't even think about that, but you're 1,000% right. I don't remember ever seeing it not raining on
yeah, like it's
Camino.
it's all every time it's always been that way. Um, but yeah, I personally like the finale. I know other people were more disappointed because they were expecting more, like I said, more of a bombastic ending. We're like, oh, we're gonna get a cameo from somebody, or are we gonna, is it gonna be more than just them escaping the planet? Which for me, again, that's fine. Like I don't always need there to be something super like universe changing happening in every finale. Like it could just be
Yeah.
something somber like this, like
This was wrapping up the end of the Clone Wars, and
yeah,
it was about what I
exactly.
expected it to be. Like, I wasn't expecting like if you'd had a big cameo, I feel like it would have taken away from the wrapping
Yeah,
up of this era. Uh,
I agree.
so I get that people always expect things now, especially after Mandalorian and the big finales
Mandalorian,
we've had
yeah.
with those. But I think this just fits here.
It
Um,
does. Yeah,
I
it fits in so much. We're saying goodbye to the Clone Wars era. And like Omega, like I was going to say earlier, I feel when I was talking about Camino, like I feel like Omega, dude, like we spent like almost 20 years with Camino, And like for in her case, she spent all her entire life on Camino, and now she's
Mm-hmm.
just watching her home being, crumbling down to the deep sea, and like, like she has to like say goodbye to her home, like she's been here her entire life, and it's like she's kind of like us, like we're saying goodbye to Camino after almost 20 years, man.
Yeah.
It's a little rough, man. Like it was, because I like Camino, but eventually, like going into the show, that eventually something has to happen with Camino and the Kaminoans because they're not a thing in the original trilogy, and they don't, they're in the Mandalorian and all that stuff. Like they're not around, so you know, going into this, that it's gonna happen eventually, and we finally get to see it happen. Um, yeah, it was. I think it was a good finale. The way that they did it.
I think the way it wrapped up, yeah, I think that was.
Yeah, and then
I
like
think it did it the way it
Omega,
needed to.
exactly. And Omega being her selfless self as always. She was she was gonna risk herself for AZ. Which, by the way, that whole AZ thing he was just a droid, and like AZ's gonna be fine because he's a droid, right? They rescued him. They'll rebuild him or repower him or whatever, and he'll be fine. But that was actually kind of sad for a little bit, dude. Watching AZ
Yeah.
like sacrifice himself for the Bad Batch, like there was nothing they could do. Their lives were in his hands, and he was sending them off into above water because they were all underwater, and like man, it was just rough seeing him like losing power slowly. Like it's gonna happen because he's like, oh my battery, I'm on emergency power right now because I'm all out of juice. It's like damn,
Mm-hmm.
that
Yeah,
was
yeah,
that was
yeah.
pretty rough with Omega
It,
and
it
AZ.
it hit me a little bit. Yeah, I was like, "Fuck." The whole time they
Yeah,
were trying to escape the city, I was like, "There's got to be some glass tubes they can get in around here somewhere." So I was
yeah,
so glad when it came up at the toward the end. I was like, "Yes, I knew it. There's glass tubes. They're gonna ride them to the top." It's the only thing that
dude.
makes sense for them to get out of there.
I You wanna know what didn't make sense to me is when they saw that sea creature and they were just standing there and like listening for the noise. I would have been out of that fucking tube the second I heard anything out in the water. I'd be like,
Hmm.
fuck this. I am not standing here. I would have hauled ass out of that tube as soon as I heard something come noises from the water, dude.
We are
There's
the Bad
no
Batch.
way.
We are the fastest clones alive. Would have been me. I'd been down
Yeah,
that
dude.
fucking.
I would
I've been
have
down that
dipped out
tube
of there
so
so
fast.
fast.
You would have seen a
Hell
blur. That's
no.
all it was.
As soon as you see that big old sea monster outside of the thing, I'd have been out of there fucking so fast. I was like, what are they just standing around for? Like, get out of there.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah.
It
My
was
ass would have been gone. Been a
yeah,
smoke
I'd have
trail
been
behind
gone.
me.
I would have been gone for sure. But yeah, I think that pretty much is the finale. At the end, they kind of show Nala Se arriving at the Imperial facility on Daro, I think, is the planet. It's either Dalo or Daro.
I think something like that. Yeah.
Daro. Yes, I got it right the first time. Daro. So the facility that we see in the War Mantle episode where they capture Hunter, they go back to that at the very end of the episode, and then we get to see the beginnings of the Imperial cloning. The scientists trying to learn from Nala Se. She arrives on the planet, and we see like this other Imperial doctor scientist lady. Which, by the way, she's wearing the same outfit that Dr. Pershing is wearing in The Mandalorian, for those of you who may or may not have noticed that. It's the
Hmm.
same exact outfit. They got the same patch on the side and everything. So Nala Se is what, you know, brings you know, uh the cloning expertise to the Empire. They bring her to the facility at the end of the episode. And yeah, so we see more commandos, which is why I'm hoping that in season 2 we get Delta Squad as the main antagonist, because how cool would it be to have the Bad Batch against the Delta Squad, and then on top of that we still have Crosshair trying to decide if he still is going to be loyal to the Empire or loyal to his brothers, so we still have that to deal with. And there's a lot going on, man. I'm very curious. And then yeah, just Omega in general, her story is super fascinating to me. There's it's gonna be exciting, man. Season 2 is gonna be exciting.
Yeah, yeah. There's still some unanswered questions we need answers to. Like,
Yeah.
is Crosshair's inhibitor chip really out, or is he just saying that, or does he believe that? You
Right,
know,
because he's like,
like
"Oh, I took it
that's
out a long time ago," you
that's
know?
never answered. That's never answered throughout the finale. So I'm kind of curious to like, is that true, or does he just think that's true, kind of
Mm,
deal?
yeah.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to the next season of Bad Batch. And see where we go next. I hope we see Hauser again. I hope he,
Yeah, I
becomes
wanna
like
see more of
a.
Hauser, yeah.
Um, I hope we see other clones that might be like Hauser as well. That kind of like
Yeah.
rebel a little bit against the.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
Uh,
Because we know eventually that, like, Rex has to meet up with Gregor and Wolf, which we haven't seen Wolf yet either.
mhm.
Because spoiler alert for Rebels. If you haven't seen Rebels, I mean, I already spoiled stuff earlier, but I'm gonna spoil it again. But this time, I'm gonna give you guys a reminder, or, a warning. If you haven't seen Rebels, and if you've just seen Bad Batch, um, I'm gonna talk about Rebels now. Okay. Anyway, um, we know that in Rebels, Gregor and Wolf meet up with Rex, and they're on their, ATTE, and chilling on that one planet. So eventually, Rex has to meet up with, I would assume, more clones. Like, maybe it's just them two, but or maybe there's more, and they lose some homies along the way. But like, it'd be cool if, like, Hauser was with them as well, and somehow, I don't know, maybe something happens that he isn't, with them by the time of Rebels. But like, I just, I don't know. I want to see more Hauser. Hopefully, Rex meeting up with and saving more clones. Yeah, there's a lot that could still happen because we're still, like, really early on. Like, if I'm not mistaken, I think this entire season takes place the same year that Revenge of the Sith happens. So we're like just after Revenge of the Sith still. Like, it's only been like maybe like a couple months after that.
Mhm.
So there's still a lot of time depending on how far they want to take this show that they could do. Um,
I also want to know what eventually happens to the Bad Batch and Omega.
yeah,
Like what are their endings? Are they going to get a happy ending? Are they going to get a sad ending? Like I'm invested in these characters now, and I got to know what happens. God damn it! So,
yeah.
yeah. So I'm curious. I'm very curious.
Absolutely,
Um,
yeah. Very lots of interesting stuff ahead with these guys. Is there any other episodes that you want to talk about a little bit briefly here? We've kind of like some of these others we talked about a little bit here and there. Like, I know I mentioned the Rancor one a little bit earlier. That's one of Jabba's Rancors. It's not the same Rancor that's in Return of the Jedi, I don't think, because
yeah, I don't
that one
think
was like,
so.
yeah, it's just another one of Jabba's Rancors. But it was cool seeing Bib Fortuna in that episode as well, and I quickly mentioned Cut LaQuaine and his family in the second episode. That was really cool.
It was cool to see the
Um,
planet from Jedi Fallen Order, the fucking scrapper
oh yeah,
planet,
Braca. Yeah, we saw
Braca.
Braca in Battle Scars and Reunion. Those two episodes.
Yeah, that was pretty cool to see that, and to think that
Hmm.
oh my god, why is my brain being dumb right now? Uh, the character you play in Fallen Order is somewhere on that planet at that moment. Like kind of
Yeah, Cal. Yeah,
Cal Kestis. That's it. Sorry, my brain went
yeah,
blank there. We've said so many names; it's hard to hold them all in my empty brain. Um,
hmm yeah.
um,
So that's yeah, that's pretty cool.
yeah, that was cool.
Again, Cad Bane and Toto was awesome. Seeing him just fucking put the whooping on Hunter that in their duel was crazy.
Yeah, like he just straight up fucking out Druid.
Took him out, yeah, which
Yeah,
makes sense. I mean, it's Cad Bane, dude. Like, I mean, come
yeah.
on, the best bounty hunter in the galaxy. And then we've talked about Sid briefly a little bit. I thought she was a cool addition. I wasn't sure if I would like her at first, but then over time, like, she was a cool addition to the
Yeah,
dynamic of all
I,
these.
wa- I wasn't sure if she was gonna be trustworthy or not. I figured she might betray the batch at some point, but
Yeah,
um, it goes a little bit of a different direction than that. Uh,
yeah, but yeah. I mean, it was a solid season. I ended up loving it. Whereas, like, when the show was first announced, I was like, "Well, do we really need this?" But yeah, I mean, I really enjoyed it. I can't wait for season 2. That'll be next year. We'll definitely be talking about that as well. You better believe it. And yeah, much like Josh, well, for me, I always want to play a Star Wars RPG, but I know Josh in particular after this was a little bit more excited about that too.
I was like, I want to. We didn't talk about the music, but I want to for just a minute.
Oh, I mean
Uh,
the music, Kevin Kiner, dude, like the Kiner brothers, they
the
always kill it, man.
the Bad Batch theme is badass,
The
but you
theme
only
is
kind of
in,
hear it
is
like a
great.
couple times,
Yeah.
at the end in the finale when they're all fighting together as the Bad Batch with
In the
Crosshair,
training room,
and it
yeah.
fucking plays. It's so good. The other thing I want to talk about is Crosshair's like evil theme. I don't know what it's actually called, or like, but like when he's talking as an
Mhm.
Imperial, and that like dark, just kind of music plays. Oh my
Yeah.
god, it's so dope. I love it. I need to listen to it a little. I need to listen to like all of the Bad Batch music a little bit more. But it's just fantastic all the way through, and I can't wait for the next season.
Yeah, the music is just fantastic.
Um, but yeah, I did want to mention that just because like that theme, his evil theme stands out to me so much.
Mm.
Uh,
Yeah, no, the
um,
music was very, very good.
is there anything else you want to
Um,
talk about, Daniel? Or
I mean, I don't know. We kind of briefly talked about most all of it already. Like we went through the cameos and the characters and some of the other episodes here and there. The beginning one and then the end and all that stuff. No, I mean I don't really have. I guess I don't really have much else to say other than they brought out a poster. Have you seen it? They like dropped it I think today. Watch. I'm gonna throw it up in the chat for you guys. Look at how cool this poster is.
yes, this is a dope poster. Let
All
me throw it
episodes
up here
now
for you.
streaming. Look at that. Oh,
Let me.
all the characters in the show basically, all the main ones rather.
What the hell? Why is mine?
And then
Oh,
like in the bottom, you can see clones on the left and stormtroopers on the right. That's nuts, dude.
1 second. Sorry, guys. Whoop, there's the poster.
There it is. See, you can see the clones on the left there and on the bottom, and the stormtroopers on the right.
That's a
Then
dope
above we
poster.
have then above we have the Bad Batch and Caleb and Depa, Rex, Omega, the Martez sisters, Sid, Toto, Chopper, Hera, Cad, Fennec, Hauser, Saw, Tarkin, and Rampart, and then you got Nala Se, Tanwi, and uh, Lamasu. Very, very cool, man. Yeah. So overall, yeah, I mean, I really enjoyed the season, man. It was really, really good. I'm excited for more Star Wars. I'm glad we don't have to wait too much longer for more Star Wars either, by the way,
Hmm.
because we're gonna be getting Star Wars Visions next month, which I'm very excited about.
Oh
There's a lot
yeah.
of interesting stories in that I want to check out. Um, that's gonna be very exciting. And then we have the Book of Boba Fett in December that I'm pretty hype about. And then also recently the Obi-Wan Kenobi show has wrapped filming. So we're gonna be getting that uh at some point next year, probably sooner rather than later. So I'm pretty hype about all that. Lots of good stuff coming, man. Well, while we have to wait for the continuation of the story of the Bad Batch, we're gonna have other things in the meantime. Which is always good because I always like to have Star Wars, man. We uh we are now in a spoiled time where we can have where we could and should have Star Wars all the time now. You know,
Yeah.
long gone are the dark times when all we had was Clone Wars and the Force Unleashed and like nothing else. You
Yep.
know. But anyway,
Yeah, it was a good
yeah,
time. I enjoyed the shit out of Bad Batch. So.
yeah, same. I can't wait to. I can't wait to. An interesting thing for me would be how I feel about the season, like on a rewatch. You know, because like
Hmm.
when every time I do rewatches of like Clone Wars and Rebels and stuff, I'm like, all right, do you know what the stuff that you love? And then there's the stuff that's like, all right, this is cool, but like I can't wait till we get to this stuff. You know what I mean? So
Mhm.
I think it'll be kind of what we talked about though. Like, like Infested is probably gonna be one of those where it's like, all right, there's some stuff in here that's cool, but like I can't wait till we get, to this point. But yeah. I think if that'll do it, then I think that's gonna be it, huh?
That's gonna do it, guys. We're gonna do our shout outs here. Um, tweet at us. Let us know what you thought of the Bad Batch. Join the Discord. Join in the discussion on that. And we will go ahead and do our shout outs. Daniel, you are up.
All right. Hello. Thank you everybody for joining us on episode 84, talking about the Bad Batch. Um Coming up for me streaming wise, I'm gonna be doing a lot of variety. I will be doing Final Fantasy 14 online tomorrow. Probably gonna be doing some Red Dead on Wednesday. And then I recently picked up Tribes of Midgard. So we'll be trying that out probably on Thursday. So if you want to check that game out, come uh hang out. But yeah, that's gonna be it from me. Next week, we will be having probably well, actually I we'll wait. I'll wait on that announcement. We'll next week should be good though. But if all goes well, it'll be an episode with a guest.
Yes.
So yeah,
We
that'll
need to double check, but possible.
yeah,
Very
yeah,
strong
yeah.
possibility.
Definitely. But yeah, that's gonna be it for me. I'll see you guys later. Thanks for hanging out. Peace out. Bye bye.
Hello, y'all. Thanks for hanging out with the show. Thank you for those that came in for the discussion on the Bad Batch. We see you in the chat. We appreciate you. 84 episodes, guys. Stick around with us a little bit longer. We'll get to episode 100. It'll be fucking dope AF. Um, Upcoming for me, just keep an eye out. My stream might not. Might check out some Starforge stuff. If, I'll let you know about that stuff. Um, if you like what you've seen, hit the follow button. Follow Daniel on his Twitch and the YouTubes, and the podcast is available on Spotify and Google Podcasts and all those places. We have a link tree where you can get to all that stuff. Uh, Occasionally pops up in the chat. I think I need to make a command for it so it pops up in the chat. Um, but yeah, thanks everybody for sticking around. I'm gonna end the recording, and then I'm gonna see if there's anybody available that we can throw you viewers to that are actually here. And we'll close out with some ads. So if you stick around and let the ads play, I'll appreciate that. And we will see you all the next time we have a show, which will be Monday, hopefully with a guest. But if not, we'll have something. We'll see. We'll find out. Until then, bye bye, guys.